Built this nation. Say it clear. Say it right. Say our name. Built this nation with our bodies and brains. You benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. We FBAs, foundational Black Americans. You want us to fight every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. Yeah. They wanna be us, from the style to the hair, from the lips to the hips, body shaped in our glare. They cross borders, profit off the fight, civil rights paid in blood just to stand in this light. Asia to Africa, you walk through the door, but this land got a history you can't ignore. FBI fought and still fighting today, made room in the system that kept us away. You praise the same power that never chose you, turn your back on the ones that broke chains just to move you. Say we don't know where we come from, that's wild. North to the south, this land raised my child. Built this nation with our bodies and brains. You benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. Say our name, say our name, say our name. We have the foundation law, Black American. You want us to fight. Every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. We were renowned, check the globe for proof. Streetwear in Japan still mirror our roots. K-pop takes the cadence, study how we move. Rapper world language, everybody fluent. From Atlanta blocks to Mumbai lanes, Heinemann kind spitting bars, connected to the flame. That ain't hate, that's impact, that's reach. Culture travel worldwide when the source run deep. They copy the look, they borrow the sound, but skip the respect when we still hold the ground. Love the rhythm, ignore the pain, celebrate the wave, won't say the name. This was home, before permission, before approval. Say our name. Built this nation with our bodies and brains. We benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. Say our name, say our name, say our name. We FBA, foundational Black Americans. You want us to fight. Every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. Say our name, say our name, say our name. 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 Don't need your respect. Never needed permission. We built everything when we weren't even seen as human. Biting the hand that fed you. Surviving on scraps. FBA stopped begging. We learn to build from scratch. Learn to build from scratch. Learn to build from scratch. Say our name. Say our name.
Okay, we have any more videos coming up, Brother Che?
Yes, Shabakas, the same old thing.
Y'all don't hear us.
Okay. All right. Doom, 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 boom, doom, 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 doom.
Pull up and see the motherfucking listen.
Pack your bag, time to go home.
Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our grind, we outside on it. While y'all fools on the outside looking, don't show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your digits, make it just fly on.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time
I am on mute, going on mute now.
You landed on the tarmac, fresh off the boat. Talking about y'all building nothing, man, you choking on the note. My ancestors the reason that this country even breathes. Picked the cotton, built the White House, planted the seed. Jim Crow laws, redlined the map, we was the target. You think that struggle's a costume, man, you can't mark it. We fought the wars, we bled the blood, we died for our future's chance. And you come here and give our legacy a side eye while throwing shade on the guard. While you benefit from doors we kick down with our last breath. Now you spit on the architects who stared down death. Disrespectful, that's disrespectful, ungrateful, a slap in the face, the only people who gave a fuck. So let me show your ungrateful ass to the right place.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our ground and we outside on it. While y'all fools on the outside looking, y'all show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your digits, make it just fly on.
Hey, shake spot.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your digits, make it just fly
Hey,
on.
shake the spot.
The visa, the privilege to be here, cause my grandma did march for y'all, so disappear from our land. You can't plan our plan. Think it's
Okay,
a
hold
trend
on.
you can borrow, but you
Hold
ain't
on.
inherit the ghosts of our sorrow. We the foundation, the bedrock, the soil, and the root. You not no branch on our tree, and unproductive people always cosplaying me.
Talking about we ain't do nothing, you lost your mind. We built this from nothing, time after time.
From the beginning to now, we've been the backbone and muscle. Why you look down on the struggle and cause a whole tussle? The energy style with discussing is whack. So let's make it clear, there's no turning back.
This land is paid for in full.
In blood, sweat, and tears, and dreams deferred.
You don't get to come into a house we built from the dirt and telling Black America y'all ain't worth nothing. That's a violation. Facts.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
It's our soil on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
Show respect, this our ground. Y'all just tenants on a leash.
Oh, get the step.
Show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Oh, don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your digits, I can just fly on.
Oh, don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your digits, I can just fly on.
Yeah, fly little birdies.
Fly on back to where you came from.
This ain't for you. The soil is sacred.
We said what we said.
It's time
For y'all to go home. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. Bye bye, little birds. we forgot, but we never forget. This one's for the rules. We built this land from dust and tears, 400 years, and we still here. They write new rules, but they don't see. Every freedom they got came off you and me. We planted seeds, they took the bloom. We lit the flame, they left the room. But we back now, know the skies. The spirits woke, we realize all we want is what we earn. That sweat and blood, yeah, the table turn. You can't go culture, can't fake that vibe. This is our day, this is our ride. We happy. Say it loud, say it strong. We the heartbeat that's been there all along. Foundational Black Americans, stand tall. We ain't begging for nothing, we built that all. Born from pain and grace, you can see the truth written in our face. We the soul, the sound, the fight, the flame. Foundational Black Americans, say our name. They love our rhythm, but they dodge our blues. Use our voice when it fits their news. They take our sound, but not our scars. We the backbone, we the stars. Now the veil is gone, the mask is clear. We see the game, we know it's here. No more silence, no more lies. We lift that flag and watch it rise. Rise up, rise up. We the ones that made this nation breathe. Our plains are power, our roots are trees. We know worlds. It's rhythm and grace, and now we're reclaiming our rightful place. Can't copy courage, can't steal pain. You can't inherit soul by changing names. Our story ain't done, it's the revival. We guard the gate, it's about survival. We FBA, say it proud, say it loud. The world dances on what we vow. Foundational Black Americans, still we stand, still we fight, still we demand. Every block, every song, we've been right here all along. The soul of a people strong and free. Foundational Black Americans. We the first, we the rule, we the fire. Still rising, still here. Foundational Black American.
We set the tone and they copy the cadence. Dance to our drums and deny the foundation. Wear the style but don't honor the source. Smile in the crowd and you distance and force. Say you not us but you rap like we breathe. Take the rhythm, then fuse the receipts. I ain't mad, I'm just holding the glass. Showing the mirror, now answer it back. I ain't here to cancel nobody. Just keep it honest, keep it solid. If you eat from the table we built, don't act surprised when we guard it. Do you like that? Do you like that? When I flip your sound and I ride like that. Do you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Cause that's how it feel when you borrow my culture. Then act like we never mattered. Hip-hop.
Mike Larry. Now this shit here, it's what I see it is. We're not fighting your battles. We're not carrying your fear. We're not lending our history to people who erased us while we were here. Just cause you're born here, don't make you FBA. That makes you a citizen, learn the difference today. This is lineage, not a look you can wear, not a costume you borrow when it benefits you there. You use our culture like an access card, backstage pass, a straight facade, but now the mirror's in your face. No disguise, and you're uncomfortable looking truth in the eyes. We didn't leave our land to beg for a chance. We stayed, we fought, we took every advance. That's the separation, that's the line you cross. We paid the price, you learned the cost. You waving your flag on our soil, but fighting not to go back home. Waving your flag on our soil, building comfort on a foundation you didn't know. We waving our flag, red, black, and gold. Stood our ground, never sold. You waving your flag on our soil, but scared to build what you claim you love. Our humor, our style, the way we move, the smoothness, the sound, the things we prove. Music we birth, language we shape, innovation forged under constant escape. Warrior spirit means stay and defend, not flee your land and rewrite the end. You call it success, but don't confuse the two. East came after what we went through. You abandoned your land and called it strategy. You wave that flag loud, but won't return to build your legacy. That contradiction tells the story for you. You waving your flag on our soil, we're fighting not to go back home. We waving ours where we were forged, every inch earned, every brick known. We can't be deported, and that truth changes everything. We can't be deported, and that truth changes everything. We know who we are, and now we see who you are too. Just because y'all born here doesn't make you FBA at all. It makes you an American citizen. It's biologically impossible to be us, because it's a lineage, not some damn costume you can just put on to look cool. You immigrants and immigrant Americans has used our culture as an access card, a backstage pass to our culture. Now y'all have to look in the mirror. Our sense of humor, the aesthetics, mannerisms, the style of dress, the smoothness, the creativity, our genres of music, innovativeness, our slang, our warrior spirit by staying on our homeland and fighting and not fleeing to somebody else's land to beg for a better life and shit on the very people who fought to have us there. That's who we are. And we know who the hell y'all are waving your flag on our soil and fighting to make sure y'all don't go back.
You can't leech off our culture anymore. Beat it!
Mike Larry, man, you did it again. We really making history. Let's go. Do you like that? Do you like that? Flip your sound, how you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Say it loud, don't walk it back. Do you like that? Do you like that? You grew up mimicking us, now y'all switch it up. Turn the carbon copy, y'all ain't black, what the fuck? It's funny y'all connecting to our culture like it's Wi-Fi. Surfing on our waves of our culture, no more agua. Still in my culture for all these years. Look how time flies, all these colonizers in disguise. Y'all hate, y'all still hate us outside. Study doctor, vampires, suck the blood of our guilt. They copy the flavor, sip the juice, love the results, hate the truth. Who? Do you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Flip your sound. How you like that? Do you like that? Democratic shields, talking points, the road they fill. Fish and chips, agent on the mic, judging the BAs, but ain't you half white? Talking like you one of us, we need a pool face. The agent type with a prune face, like 50 and Jim, it's a cold game. Throwing stones cause we build our own lane. I'm joking, kinda, but I mean, smile calm, pressure intact. y'all proud where y'all from. Where they flag, beat they drum. But when it's us, tone switch fast. Same pride, but it's too much. FBA pride, lineage solid. You can't put this on, can't try it on. Built here, stayed and fought. That's the difference. That's the car. Do you like that? Do you like that? Say it clear, don't twist the facts. Do you like that? Yeah. Do you like that? Do you like that? Point made. No edit. No care.
You know, erasing history is something that you have to do when it comes to conquest, domination, and destroying a people. If people knew who they were, what they were, and what they were capable of in the past, they will understand what they have a possibility or a likelihood of doing in the future.
Foundational Black Americans, we've always had a culture of resistance. We cultivated a culture of resistance on this land, and we've been resisting ever since we've encountered European domination.
But nothing was really popping in Europe until the transatlantic slave trade, and that's where they amassed a lot of wealth.
One thing that I think is unique about our culture as far as how we resist, how we fight back, is just the environment we were put in from day one. Being only 13% of the population, the white supremacists were very meticulous about keeping that population at a certain amount.
There was never a period when we did not resist the encroachment of the white man.
They have a natural behavior of authority no matter where they go. That's why they'll step up in front of us in the line at the store. We're not important. They don't even see us.
We've never been able to excel. We've never been able to relax. We've never been able to just be, which means that existence is resistance.
It must be something in our DNA, our historical background, to when something doesn't sit right with us, especially spiritually, in our souls and in our spirit, we just say no.
We live resistance. You know, from the moment we're born, we're in resistance. And it's handed down generation to generation.
And so I think that cultural resistance is actually in our DNA, in our epigenetics, and then it blossoms out into the culture.
So there's almost nothing in America that we do, from song to dance to politics to the way we talk, the way we dress, having coded languages considered to be slang today. Everything about Black American culture is a form of resistance.
Of course, they want to always downplay our contributions to the global tapestry because they continue to act like our number one export in this country is not Black innovation.
Everyone understands that our resistance has been the cornerstone of what foundational Black Americans have always done. We are the life that breathes everything into this nation.
The further back you go, the further Black you go. It's just simple like that, brother.
Introducing the B1 Rolodex, the easiest way to search for and support FBA and B1 businesses. Hundreds of entries from the Black grassroots for the Black grassroots. Free to use, free to download, constantly updated. Trouble navigating the document? Try using the map version. Notice a business missing? Use this simple Google form to submit an FBA or B1 business. Also submit anti-Black businesses, which are now being collected in that last tab. Find resources, contact numbers, and much more using the second tab. All the info you need to start practicing group economics today. Go to blacktruthunited.com. That's blacktruthunited.com.
Greetings, my family. Greetings, and thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Shabakas Black Special Hands in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News. I'm your co-host, Chan Krummer. Then we join with the other co-host, from the co-executive producer and co-host them. And on this season 12, episode 8 of Shabakas Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News, we'll be discussing several topics. First one is Fredericc Douglass Speech in London, the latest on the Nolan Wells case, James Byrd effect, Lindsey Graham's funeral, Governor Andy Beshear Gives McConnell an ultimatum, speak up or step down, bite of Chicago shooting update, ICE to target Haitian migrants as protected status ends, Chief Assistant Eric Bieniemy's son charged in shooting up his mother in Virginia, authorities say. Berlin Pride attacker was hardcore ISIS sympathizer on government list. Extremism expert says. The Shabakas Black Experience Enhanced is based off the 50th anniversary of the founding of the original Blacc Panther Party for self-defense. It started on Blogtalk Radio back in 2016 and have been around for 12 seasons now. Shabakas Black Experience Enhanced covers the Black experience from the beginning of time until 10 minutes ago. It is also a part of the Frontline campaign and has recently, within the last 2 to 3 years, moved from Blogtalk Radio to Streamyard. Please make sure you like and share the broadcast, family. Your family, hit that like, share, and subscribe button and the subscribe bell. And please join us on Streamyard, YouTube, Frontline Blacc News. The links to all of our channels are in the description. And we got copyright disclaimer in Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And I do not own the rights to music.
You were right. I was wrong.
All right.
You were right. You were right.
All right, Shabaka. So what are your thoughts?
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, my thoughts is, man, they've been doing this ever since Freddie D's time, and I'm going to be reading some literature right here. It's a pretty thick book. I recommend everybody get it. It's called Fredericc Douglass, Profit and Freedom. The author is David W. Blight. Okay, so what it is that they put these hurdles up for us that's still a throwback to slavery, rather if it's entertainment, sports, education, economics, and economic and unity development of us. You see, is because what was it, Brother Chafe? They had saw more than 4 of us at the same time, man, and we didn't answer the bell or answer anything that master's telling us to get back to the fields. A lot of those slaves were brutalized. You see what I'm saying? As because you could be,
3 or more.
Yeah. They felt that it was a conspiracy, you know. And then, not in regard to Fredericc Douglass, but let's look at our ancestors, your ancestors, my ancestors. They call us racist because we still got that genetic memory. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, when these other groups come to America, fleeing their oppression, then everybody opens up their arms to us, and we be, as black people, the first ones they come talking to, acting like we're supposed to be up there. Well, Mr. Whitey, you from Poland or you from France, and I's your nigga. Bullshit. Not after all the innovations that we made, not all of how we contributed to the American economy, man, you know, not so much with the cotton. And then after cotton and slavery was over, what did they start stealing on us, Brother Che? Our intellectual property rights, our right to own real estate. You see what I mean? Our right to open up businesses. There in the city of Atlanta, they didn't even allow black police officers to use weapons. You know, what was that, Brother Che? The late 1940s and 50s, I think.
Yep.
Okay. And then not to mention at that time, you know, our people served in World War II like my dad did. You know, he served in World War II. His nephews went over to Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God that all of them came back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my great-grandfather served in World War II.
Yeah, you see? And then in World War II, they what's the director's name? Norman Jewison, that made In the Heat of the Night with Sidney Poitier, and then he also made A Soldier Story, right? Okay. And I noticed in both those films, and I know that dude was involved in many more, right? He didn't show, as we say here in the intro track here, of our resistance that's already in us. You see what I'm saying? And then just like Fredericc Douglass, before he escaped the plantations, he got hit with a whip. Then he whooped the dude's ass who hit him with the whip. Then he took the whip and beat him. Okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, Shabaka. I'm just trying to figure out where you're going, just because the first topic is on Fredericc Douglass.
Right, yeah, and I was about to blend it in. Okay. All right, and then we got other topics, you know, appreciate the hard work that Jesse is doing, and I do try to do my share of the work, but, you know, we do what we can, you know, because we both try to stay alive. Okay, right. Born Frederick. Okay, here we go. Born Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey, a slave in Talbot County, Maryland, in February 1818. The future Fredericc Douglass was the son of Harriet Bailey, one of 5 daughters of Betsy Bailey, and with some likelihood his mother's white owner. So this is what we talk about in regard to the imitation of life. You see, this crap was done to us systemically, because the white man would go violate the black woman and offsprings from those unions, you know, the slave master turned them into property. He saw his mother for the last time in 1825, though he hardly knew her. Now, this is a very, very important fact. How many mothers out there, man, are not going to know their children? And she gave birth to them. See what I'm saying? See, so they knew that. So this oppression, ladies and gentlemen, was systemic. She died the following year. Damn. He didn't even get to know his mama. Douglass lived 20 years as a slave and nearly 9 years as a fugitive slave, subjected to recapture. Just like we were saying, Brother Che, if you and I were slaves, man, we heard there was gold in California, and hey, man, and we swinging out by here, we shaking this spot, we're going to get some gold. We'll get captured, okay, by the local authorities that turn them over, you know, to the slave patrollers. You see what I'm saying? And what they would do with us, Brother Che, they would tie us up, bound us, beat us, but we still had to walk, you see, because you know, like how they tie their ropes or whatever, chains, whatever, to the horse. They ride, we walk. You see what I'm saying? From the 1840s to his death in 1895, he attended he attained international fame as an abolitionist, editor, orator of almost unparalleled stature. Okay, so that right there, people, is that he developed himself, got him some skills, because as you all know, after he beat up the slave owner, he had to get up out of town. So he was a stowaway on a ship in the harbor of Baltimore, Maryland. So when he was captured, they said, well, man, you might as well work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. And the author of 3 autobiographies that are classics of the genre. As a public man, he began his abolitionist career 2 decades before America would divide and fight the Civil War over slavery. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is perhaps one of the biggest lies ever told. What it is that when you are a slave, you do what the slave master say. So I'm quite sure that a lot of brothers, you know, were told, you know, to go fight the, what do they call them? The Yankees or the Northern Union Army or whatever. You see what I'm saying? The slave didn't have a choice, you see. Then you had some slaves who escaped slavery that wanted to fight with the Union Army, okay, but they only promoted very, very few to the officers rank, like the major that we did. The one, do you remember the story we did a while back on the major in the Army?
Yep.
Yeah, you see, but he could not command white troops. Black officers in the U.S. military, regardless of the branch, were not allowed to command white subordinates. That shit didn't happen, man, until 1951 and through the 50s and into the early 60s, and Vietnam came along. You see what I'm saying? Okay, getting back to school here. I'm going to school too, okay? And Freddie was the author of 3 autobiographies that are classics of the genre. As a public man, he began his abolitionist career 2 decades before America would divide and fight in the Civil War. Now, that he openly welcomed, okay? He openly welcomed this. You see what I mean? Okay, now, there's trolls on Facebook that says, you niggas don't need reparations. What about all the white soldiers, you know, to free your black ass? That was the exact words of the troll, right? Okay. So I told the troll this, is that what it was is that we had wanted to escape slavery. We figured y'all getting rid of slavery, so we want to be on your side, but to find out that you were still treated just as bad in the Union Army as you were in the Confederate Army, because they still to this day, to quote Deontay Wilder, we still fighting to this day. You see? And this is why, as you say there in the clips, they want our rhythm, they want our inventions, but they don't want the blues, okay? So the Civil War over slavery that he openly welcomed, Douglass was born in a backwater of the slave society up the South, just as steamboats appeared in bays and on American rivers and before the telegraph. The railroad and the rotary press changed human mobility and consciousness. You see that, people? The railroads and the publications of newspapers. You see what I mean? And then everybody's up there talking about the Union Pacific Railroad. Yeah, they got the railroad through the Sierra Nevada, the snow and all this shit, and they used the Chinese to build it, who came from San Francisco. But it was us, black family, that built the Southern Pacific Railroad from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way to Los Angeles, California, okay? And then he died after the emergence of electric lights, the telephone, and the invention of the phonograph, which we know as a record player to this day, okay? He was a ferocious critic of the United States and all of its hypocrisies. He strongly believed in self-reliance and demanded active interventionist government at all levels to free slaves, defeat the Confederacy, and protect black citizens against terror and discrimination. Now, people, on that right there, isn't that there what our brother Malcolm X talked about? When he was born, they burned down the house. You see what I'm saying? Okay, forgive me, people, because I'm up here multitasking. I'm up here trying to figure the right pair of glasses where I could read this fine print shit. This is what happens when you get old. And them still ain't it. Just bear with me, folks, okay? And then he fought against mob violence as well, too, but believed in certain kinds of revolutionary violence. In his own career, he heroically tried to forge a livelihood with his voice and pen, but fundamentally, he was not a self-made man, an image and symbol he touted in a famous speech. And though which modern conservatives have adapted him as a proponent of individualism. He truly believed women were equal and ought to have the fundamental rights. Okay, see, that's another thing they don't mention. See, so he went out there and fought for women to get the right to vote. You see, now this is before 1920, okay, when they gave the woman to vote. You see what I'm saying? And what's the woman's name who was on the Titanic who was part of the women's movement? Molly Brown, I think, Brother Che.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay, and like I said, he fought against mob violence, but believed in certain kinds of revolutionary violence. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Then he became an old, okay. And then, indeed, the old fugitive slave has become, in the early 21st century, wait a minute, a malleable figure adopted by all elements of the political spectrum, okay? Not least by current Republicans who have claimed Douglass quite historically as their own by elevating a single feather into his thought. Black self-reliance at the expense of his enduring radicalism. At the unveiling ceremony of the statue of Douglass in the U.S. Capitol in 2013, chosen by the District of Columbia as one of the two representatives to which each state and the district are entitled. Congressional Republicans walked around proudly sporting large buttons that read, Frederick Douglass was a Republican. Okay. Douglass's descendants present, as well as some of as well as some of us scholars, with, shall we say, different training and research, smiled and endured whose Douglass was, is a modern question rife with the meaning. But he was also arrogant at times and hypersensitive to slights. He did not take well to rivals who challenged his position as the greatest spokesman of his race, although he also mentored many younger Black writers and leaders. You see, this is the stuff they don't tell us about in school, Brother Che, about Freddie D. You see what I'm saying? Che, you still there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So therefore, man, what he was trying to do was trying to educate the people to read and write, so therefore they can become literate. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But he was also vain, arrogant at times, and hypersensitive to elites. He did not take well to rivals who challenged his position as the greatest spokesman of his race, although he also mentored many younger Black writers and leaders. He liked bearing on a pedestal. No, he liked being on a pedestal and did not intend to get knocked off. Douglass was thoroughly and beautifully human. Above all, Douglass is remembered most for the telling of his personal story, the slave who willed his own freedom. All right, check that out, people. Okay, Douglass was a man of words, spoken and written language, were the only major weapons of protest, persuasion, or power that he ever possessed. You see, so he was a great orator. He's talking about the horrors of slavery as well, too. And he's also talking about the side effects of it to a point. So what are your thoughts on this here, Brother Che, before I go any further? And if we got any chats, please check the chats to see what they're saying as well, because I'm unable to do it. Brother Che? Brother Che? Brother Che. Okay, Lady Che, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your opinion on some of the material I just read here, ma'am?
Well, I think it's all diabolical, really. I think that I need a refresher on the topic, but I'm pretty sure whatever we're talking about is diabolical.
No, we're talking about Fredericc Douglass, who escaped slavery and then also went around the world, mentioning its horrors.
Yeah, and didn't he married outside the race, right?
Yeah, that is true. In his latter years, he did.
Yeah. I think they don't give him enough credit. Stop it, Blake Magic. Magic.
Put the kitty on TV. He wants to come on TV.
We can't. I don't know why she's screaming like that. I think it's upsetting because I think he didn't get enough acknowledgement for his works.
Oh, Fredericc Douglass?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty.
By him being enslaved, because I like the backstory about him being enslaved, because he could have did more with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because he came from he was coming out of that time period.
Right. But he also was a slave, so he knew the horrors of slavery. Just like that infamous picture that they got of the slave who was beaten and they showed his back. I know you've seen it.
Yeah. Jesse. Yeah,
Is Jesse falling asleep?
Yeah,
No.
It's because it's been like a hectic last couple of days. You know what I mean? And he's been like he hasn't gotten much rest.
I was trying to let you finish talking, Shabaka, but
Yeah.
to keep up.
Yes, you thought, and then you move on to me.
Okay, but I was basically speaking of Freddie D's resistance. Now I want to get to this when he traveled overseas. Yeah, because he traveled overseas and he was in England, talking about the horrors of it, right? And then what had happened was he had, how should I say, offended there's some members of a certain society. You see what I mean? And this was in the 1870s is because, go ahead.
Oh, Shabaka, you got no clips of this?
No.
Do I have what?
So? I'm not sure why you didn't put the clip with it.
No, Shabaka just wanted to talk about this, so let Shabaka finish talking. Go ahead, Shabaka.
Yes, sir. And then we're going to go off into it. Now, by 1876, a pivotal general election year and the nation's centennial celebration, that's when they made your state a state in 1876. Only 3 southern states remained unredeemed to the white counter-revolution against Reconstruction. Each of them, Louisiana, South Carolina, and Florida, had Republican-controlled regimes teetering on the brink of political extinction at the hands of terror, murder, and election fraud organized in the service of the Democrats, of the Democratic Party, and white supremacy. Indeed, the white South's revival and takeover of its political fate and the systemic destruction of Black civil and political rights, as well as economic independence, had left a cloud of despair over what remained of any reconstruction publicly by the Grant administration. Now, that's very important that you remember useless Grant. You see what I'm saying? Because he was against us too. You see? And then not only he in his titles, he had become crushed for widespread unpunished violence. Many hundreds murdered trying to vote or establish livelihoods. Okay, so that's us. So that's the Ku Klux Klan going out there with their reign of terror, ladies and gentlemen. You see what I'm saying? To keep us suppressed, you see, because to this very day, they're in fear of a black revolution, but they don't have nothing to worry about. Nothing. You see? Nothing. You see what I'm saying? And then, okay, I want to make sure I got everything. There was something about a speech Brother Che he gave in 1876. Okay? All right? Now, let me see here. Oh, got to change these damn glasses again. Shit. Okay.
She said 5.
In the inconvenient and uncomfortable space of the courthouse town hall, Douglass held forth in the afternoon on how he was not a fugitive from slavery, but a fugitive slave. That he was still in slavery was due to the American churches sanctifying and justifying the tyrants of slaveholding. You see? And then he stated, looking at the audience in the eyes, he declared, you are yourselves our enslavers. You see? And the evening, the crowd was even larger, according to a writer by the name of Rogers. Douglass delivered an unforgettable performance, beginning slowly with a calm, deliberate narrative of his life. The young man who had just turned 26 years old told of gaining his literacy from Sophia Auld until her husband, Hugh, forbade it. What's that? Forbade, meaning that he forbidded it. It as well was learning from his playmates and workmates in the streets and on the docks of Baltimore. This, Rogers observed, Douglass accomplished in a hesitating way, reciting the facts almost dullish in manner. Then came symptoms of a brewing storm that took hold of the audience like nothing Rogers had ever seen. Douglass has gradually let out the outraged humanity that was laboring in him in indignant and terrible speech. It was not so much eloquence, said the New Hampshire editor, but something sterner, darker, deeper, writing as though still breathing heavily while listening to Douglass. So right there, people, they're showing you, he's telling the world of these horrors. You see what I'm saying? So he's getting to some of them, but the majority are not getting with him. You see? So basically, that there is a part of our resistance. And then we're going to change the subject, to Brother Che. And then in the meantime, what I'm going to do is be off in the back. So I thoroughly got to go through this book, Brother Che. So that means I'm going to have to read it from beginning to end, you see, because there were some more things in there as well, too. And then just like the powerful speech he gave in 1866, And I believe 1876, isn't that the year Useless Grant became the president? Brother Che? Lady Che? Is there anybody in the studio? Brother Che? Okay, Brother Che. Okay, Lady Che, are you there? Okay, Brother Che. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we're probably having some technical difficulties with our Denver office, but another subject that we was going to get back on was on Mr. Wells, who was drowned in Mississippi, who was out there with his white friends, and he came up dead. And I want to get Brother Che's feedback on that. Brother Che? Earth calling Brother Che. Lady Che, are you there? Okay, you must have some technical difficulties. Now, we're going to change the subject to bring it up to modern times because we want to talk about what happened with Mr. James Byrd in 1994. Okay, when Mr. Byrd was in Texas, just got off of work, and these four individuals asked him if he wanted to ride home. Before Mr. Byrd got home, ladies and gentlemen, he was dragged. Okay, so which means is that they bound and gagged Mr. Byrd either with ropes or with chains, and they dragged him from the back of a pickup truck, dismembering his body. Very, very horrible death that they used to do to our people. You see, so this is why here at Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, we deal with the Black experience from the beginning of time to 10 minutes ago. Brother Che. Yeah, we don't know what happened. Okay, Brother Che. Okay, we don't know what happened with our Denver office. Lady Che, are you there? Okay, I'll wait for them. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, these modern times, this is how you got the school to prison pipeline of how they still are enslaving our youth, you know, just trap music and things of that nature right there. And we're still making up, you know, the majority of the inmate population. Or the first quarter of the 25th century. You see, Brother Che.
Jesse.
Yeah. Who's coming?
Rocket.
Where?
Okay, yeah, I'm still on the air, Brother Che.
Oh, what did you say, Shabaka?
Okay, yeah. So what I was saying was, you know, on the material that I read on Fredericc Douglass, where he was trying to do something, you know, with the Republican Party in the 1876 election, the year your state became a state. And wasn't that useless Grant who was still the president at the time?
No, it was Johnson. It was Rutherford B. Hayes.
Okay, Rutherford B. Hayes. Okay, so yeah. So therefore, with Douglass trying to appeal to these presidents, Andrew Johnson, who was after Lincoln, and who was the president after Andrew Johnson? I think it was Ulysses Grant.
Yeah.
Okay. So Freddie D was saying off here in the books, ladies and gentlemen, that we were still intact for all practical purposes as slaves. And then as we was building our Black Wall Streets, you know, who came along? The Ku Klux Klan, and start tearing down our businesses like the Black Wall Street. You see what I mean? Because they want our rhythm, they want our money, but they do not want our blues. So therefore, you know, I salute Mr. Douglass on what he did, escaping bondage, plus he freed himself, you know, by any means necessary. And he went on to start traveling the rest of the world because he had made speeches in England. And then the main ones who was against him in England, guess who it was, Brother Che? I'll give you one guess. Okay. Historically, nothing had been more conflicted in Southland than church's history, and Black Americans, abolitionists, had arrived in the midst of the region. Most embittered religious and institutional institutional dispute of the 19th century. No people or country likes to be told by an outsider that their whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. Their hands are full of blood. Some of them were Scots, though in the 1840s, mirrored, and one of their periodic intercene clerical struggles seems to welcome a strategy Jerry made, and that stranger now will garner a great deal of practice for arguments that he would employ in his own country. Political life in Scotland took place in or because of his churches. In 1841, led by the middle-class evangelical reformer Thomas Chalmers, a large group of ministers and their supporters bolted from the General Assembly of the National Church of Scotland, formed the Free Church of Scotland. More than 1/3 of the 1,200 or so ministers in Scotland, and perhaps as many as 1/2 of lay people, joined the new movement to pay ministers and build churches the new organizations desperately needed. Monetary, wait a minute. Movement. The ministers of Scotland, and perhaps as many as 1/2 of lay people, joined the new movement to pay ministers and build churches. The new organization desperately needed memory. Not to believe it. Part of its funding, delegation sailed to America in 1844 and collected several $1,000 as Douglass and a small band of Americans. As Douglass and a small band of Americans, abolitionists began to draw large crowds in 1846 in Glasgow, Edinburgh, which is in Scotland, and many smaller towns across Scotland. The region was aflame with controversy over slavery, and especially over the alleged tainted lucre, the large taintlet gathered from American slave owners. So in other words, Brother Che, these finished goods that the slaves produced in the United States, the British bought a lot of them, or the Scots. The first speeches in Scotland, Douglass had struck to the nature of slavery and racial prejudice in the United States. Scottish audiences applaud and laughed vigorously as Douglass entertained them with tales of his youth and wrote over more details the Scots cheered widely of his immigrant master People portray them as the voice of a slave with the dangerous enemies arrayed against them. So you know what that means. You know, they systematically was trying to get rid of this mess. They make something called books, you know, that is written, as opposed to that internet shit. You see? And this book here, like I said, ladies and gentlemen,
Jesse.
Mm.
But you got a clip to play? We're gonna break it on silent.
Keep kicking Shabaka out the studio.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Either way.
It's the Streamyard. No, because I don't know where Shabaka's going with it. I don't know if he's done with the Fredericc Douglass speech.
Yeah, I'm done with it. No, I'm done with it. We can move on to the next topic.
Okay. Okay, Shabaka. So the next topic is Nolan Wells.
Yes, sir. What's the latest on Mr. Wells? Is because I've been seeing over the net, you know, that his case has been getting a lot of attention, but on mainstream media, you know, they're not saying nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? The man's, yeah.
Several clips lined up. So I got viral video, boat video exposed the demise of Nolan Wells.
Right.
Audio engineer broke down.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency call.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Before I play this, I want to quickly explain.
And this is fair use under the Copyright Act of 1976. This is fair use.
And Nolan Wells' ex-teammate Byrd Edmondson accused after emergency call leaks.
He's accused?
Yeah, his best friend.
Okay. You sound tired as hell, man. You all right?
I'm just trying to get all this in order, so I feel like I didn't really have time to put this together.
Okay.
All right. So those are the videos I have for that.
Okay.
All right. So which one do you want to play first, Shabaka?
The Nolan Wells. What's the latest on Nolan Wells?
Oh, these are all the latest on them. So which one of the clips do you want to play first?
Okay, let's play the clips first, man. There were a lot of suspicion is starting to turn on these folks because based off of previous information we had on this, they did not make an honest effort to save him.
Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. This is the hell out of New Orleans coming to you with another informative video. All praises to our Creator and our ancestors who came before us, gave us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But family, this video is about the video that's going viral about the Nolan Wells case. There's a video that was created by a sister named Janetta Brantley when they was out there on the boat calling for the Coast Guard. And in that video, in the background, it was saying about Nolan, same thing about get up, is he dead? Oh God, this, that, and the other. A lot of people saying it's fake. It's not fake. That's right. Because he called a dispatcher, talking about the boat was sinking in 30 foot of water. That's in the same video where in the background, they were saying these things about is he dead, this, that, and the other. It's real. And the sister did it without, she's an expert, didn't use no AI or nothing. Then they called the grandpa, and the grandpa said, we don't need the Coast Guard. But early in the video, he was Warren, who did the call to the dispatcher, asking for the Coast Guard, saying it was sinking. It's a big cover-up, family. That video said a lot. And they got more people on social media solving this crime. This was a murder, allegedly by the people he went out there with. That everything is falling apart. All their lies, and you got this Sambo, Brandon Tatum, he's sitting up there trying to deflect this, that, and the other. He even talking about made a video that black people, his black friends, is the cause of him having this demise. You don't think that man is a joke and a liar and a deceiver trying to cover up a crime? He's a crook himself, along with the DA, the sheriff, and everybody else that's involved in this cover-up. Because that's what it is. And it's being exposed by a lot of social media content creators, white and black, black and white, exposing what's going on. Even TMZ said that it was live. It was live because he the one called for the Coast Guard. In some kind of way his grandpa got in it, and the grandpa said, we don't need the Coast Guard. Now, which one it is, you need it or you don't need it. It's a cover-up, family. And that sister, Janetta Benton, she did a great job of cleaning out, all the static. Because I heard what I heard, and everybody else heard what they heard. That's right. And you got this clown, this Sambo, Brandon Tatum trying to deflect that it wasn't true. Now he's blaming black people or blaming Katie or this, that, and the other. But the truth is coming to the light. Somebody need to be in jail along with the judge and the sheriff and the DA, all of them crooks. That's right, family. But that's my take on that situation. That video exposed everything. To any intelligent person, that video exposed everything. Peace and love. Put up the likes and shares, and stay tuned for the next video or live stream. And I'm out.
So thank you, Bobby Rashawn out of New Orleans for that.
Before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that C-TO call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically use techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the C-TO dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. And you can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here.
All right, peace and blessings. Peace and blessing. All praise is due to the Most High. And as Ephesians 5:11 says, take no part in the works of darkness, rather expose them. So I commend my dear sister, our beautiful sister, Gianna Brantley. She's a audio engineer, and she was able to professionally dissect and break down and make the C-TO call clear that was allegedly made on the boat where many people feel like Nolan was being killed in the background. And so she just gave you the background. Now we're going to listen to that breakdown with what she interpreted to be said. And, you know, as she said, it made her emotional. And of course, for us, it's not shocking any longer because someone has already kind of broken it down. But this gives you a professional aspect of what is really said and being said on that call. Just listen.
You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using simply time code, which in film, that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session, not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occurred very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play, read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're thinking, can y'all please come? We have a membership. Oh, shut the fuck up!
And we'll stop it right there before we listen to it again. As you heard the lady say, interpreting what she heard, she wasn't able to emotionally process. She was only able to do and perform this exercise on 30 seconds of the call. So hopefully our sister will be able to get more done so we can hear some of the things in the background. But from what I hear, she is spot on when they said, oh, is he really dead? And somebody says, do you think we can cover it up? And they said, and then the female voice said, is he really dead? And then somebody says, oh my God, oh my God. And then at the end of the call, because you remember Warren kept referencing his buddy Bart. And at the end, he says, damn it, Bart. Like, you know, when somebody does something that is messed up, it's questionable. That's what it sounds like that damn it, Bart means. But let's listen to this call once again from the beginning. We'll break it down piece by piece. Can we cover it up? Yeah, I thought all about that.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're thinking, can y'all please come? We have a membership. Oh, shut the fuck up!
And you notice once again, this is at the top of the tow call. And the reason they're probably calling the tow call is to once again handle this emergency. Let's take it from the top one more time.
Now helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're thinking, can y'all please come? We have a membership. Oh, shut the fuck up!
So it's the damn it, Bart, for me at the end that puts me in the mind that maybe Bart is the one who did something to our dear brother. We've heard Warren mention Bart on several occasions, but we do, if this is alleged what is being said, once again, I'm not saying it is, I'm saying this is what she's saying it is. We have at least 3 suspects on the boat. Warren, who's making the call, Wyatt, whose name gets called, and damn it, Bart. And several other people, because remember, I think, you know, somebody released that photo. There was at least 7 people on that boat. And somebody else pointed out to me this right here. If you look at this picture, which is alleged to be the scene on the boat, where once again, the boat is quote unquote getting towed. But you see a leg hanging up out the boat, which many people feel is Nolan's. But if you look to the left, that guy looks like he is on the phone. That guy looks like he is on the phone. And then you hear a girl basically, you know, real close who you can hear. And then you see another person, you know, in that area. And so to think that this is the point where Nolan, once again, was killed is not far-fetched if what we hear on that call is true, because they're checking on him and say, is he dead? Is he really dead? Oh my God. So it's almost like maybe they were just up there torturing him, punching him, and you're going to be our punching bag until we get home type deal. And then they may have went too far. Allegedly. I'm not saying that this is it, but
that makes a lot of sense.
They're yelling like, get up. Like they've been, throwing them down, wrestling with them, elbowing them, whatever the case may be. But of course, the two nurses that alleged to have someone has saw the body that was transported said that, he looked like he had been tortured, looked like his face had been burned. And you have to also ask, why was the closed casket? Now, it could be because the coroner down there in Mississippi allowed the body to decompose so badly that there was no way to have a closed casket. And I think that decomposition was done purposely to prevent, any of the evidence to support nothing other than a drowning. But once again, the question is, if he did drown, I see a lot of people say, what are you, he drowned, he got drunk and drowned. When did he go in the water? He just, after they drove off in the boat and after he walked away from Katie, he just walked into the water right around everybody else and just fell in the water and drowned. And nobody saw nothing. So that is the point that nobody is even addressing, when they do these mock scripted interviews with these people. So they say they got them some evidence and they're going to present it to the grand jury. We are going to wait and see what that evidence is. But once again, many people think that, Nolan was possibly killed by his supposedly friends. And so once again, y'all let me know what y'all think about this new breakdown of the audio. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. I really thank y'all for liking, watching, and subscribing to this channel. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. And as the scripture says, all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. Let's go. Be watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news go mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Who keep the people informed? Stories abroad from literary work where the narrative's wrong. The research is always on point. The commentary is hard. It's Rich Teller raising the ball. Follow along. Shout out to FBA, still FTP. Big up in FAC. And all my black families. It's three sides to all stories. Which one you gon' believe? We run down on the false prophets when they come to deceive. 100% urban world news, current events. We don't like them lies. Media is biased. We got God inside. Slaves and just power. If you don't know what now, look around me, the darkest hours. Cops squeezing hammers because they don't understand. Stop our hands and kill us off like cancer. Don't speculate before the facts on the case. Telehouse set them straight from the Richard Vasquez. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news go mud it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And they're fed up. They become disenchanted. They become disillusioned. They become dissatisfied. And all of this has built up frustrations in the black community that makes the black community throughout America today more explosive than all of the atomic bombs the Russians could ever invent.
Telehouse Publishing, Telehouse, 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 Telehouse Publishing.
Reporting live from my bitch club, Fight Plus News, I'm Janaba. The case of Nolan Wells has now hit another level.
They keep going in and out. Shabaka, are you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm on the phone. And I'm getting ready to switch the phones in a minute because this one is starting to get hot.
All right, what are you talking about last clip?
Okay, the brother's absolutely right, man. You got too many unanswered questions. You see what I'm saying? So was it an initiation? Do these people have a secret organization that they're part of and you have to go out here and kill a black person or what? Because, you know, they're very, very nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you would have other people, our friend, you know.
Discussion.
Yeah.
The leaked official audio of his friends, who some consider were not his friends, emergency call to a Boto company will begin circulating online.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut the fuck up!
Now, what will shock listeners from the recorded audio was the commotion taking place in the background as the boat's driver, identified as Wyatt Pyron, spoke with the operator of Ceto while allegedly struggling with the boat. As reported, along with others, we appear to hear the word dead be used, along with something that sounds like Nolan, followed by a cry out of, "Oh my God," by a female passenger. Then a male voice saying, "Wake the F up," or "Shut the F up," and lastly, someone yelling out, "Damn it, Bart." Now, some have gone on to attempt to debunk a few of those claims being reported. So in this report, we will focus on the words that mainly everyone agrees to have heard, which is the woman yelling out, "Oh my God," and "Damn it, Bart." According to a recent interview by Warren Hudson, the self-proclaimed best friend of Nolan, and who was identified since the case's earliest reports, the lead call would be made just as they were getting help to be told by their friend Bart Edmiston, which means that "Damn it, Bart" was more than likely directed towards Edmiston, who happens to be a former student of Ocean Springs High School and a now collegiate athlete for the University of Wyoming as their starting punter. Now, upon research, it can even be confirmed that Bart and Wells were also former teammates, as seen here in this picture, shared on Ocean Spring High School's football Facebook page, and ironically, what appeared to be a very wholesome moment of them next to each other, talking to elementary students, no longer reflects the status of where Edmiston and Wells have now ended up today, with one being a victim of a mysterious death and another accused of being behind it. Now, for those who feel Edmiston should be in question, mainly comes from his aggressive tone when seemingly yelling out, "Shut the F up," or "Wake the F up," before someone yells out, "Damn it, Bart," which for those who feel that the audio reveals a possibly dying Nolan was on one of the boats or near the boats, falls perfectly into the timeline after female passenger would yell, "Oh my God," in horror as if she witnessed something gruesome. Suspicions for some about Bart also center around the lack of mention of him by anyone during this entire case, as if he was purposely being hidden. So who is Bart Edmiston Jr.? According to research, he is 21 years of age and looks to have left Ocean Springs High School soon after he and a younger Wells were teammates in 2022 to continue his football career. He is noted for being one of Mississippi's best high school punters, followed by several awards in his time in junior college, to just as recent as last October, as we would make the Ray Guy Award Raise 8 selection as one of the top 8 punters in the country with an average of 45.3 yards per punt. Back in 2022, Edmiston was named Athlete of the Week by Gulf Coast, Mississippi news outlet WXXV25.
My dad, which is also Bart Edmiston, I'm a junior, he kicked at the University of Florida, 1992-96. And then he's always wanted me to kick, and then I started it going into my 8th grade year. Last year, I was the only kicker on the roster, so I had to do everything by myself, be my own ball boy, go fetch all my balls. But now, I have my little brother. He came up. He's in 10th grade. He's a kicker and punter also. But now I make him do all my duties for me. I'll make him go fetch the balls. He's my ball boy now. Kind of mean, but it's brotherly love. When I hit a good punt or a good field goal, I just chase that again.
Now, outside of this audio that has now placed Edmiston at the center of what happened to Wells, there already appears to have been a paper trail on him. As revealed by several sources, Edmiston met with the police and his boat's GPS data was also pulled. In a separate report, it goes on to say that Edmiston provided an investigator with his driver's license and boat registration card. Now, as we stated in our most recent report, we are certain that the FBI and investigators have the necessary tools to confirm what was said in the background during the emergency call to end all speculation. But until that happens, Edmiston now sits in the spotlight, as Wells' family and supporters continue to ask questions on how did a 6'1" athlete vanish amongst a crowd of hundreds of people and then be later washed ashore in the area he was last seen, with no witnesses coming forward when he was first reported to be missing. Now, as mentioned by state officials, the investigation on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells is ongoing, but it appears that the longer that they wait and bits of information comes out, only creates an environment for more speculation. As far as what should happen next, people like former Mississippi Judge Carlos Moore are expecting arrests to be made soon. On his Facebook, Moore would write, "We need some arrests this week." Now, across parts of social media, many would take to TikTok and elsewhere to share the reaction to the newly highlighted audio and their thoughts on what needs to happen.
The Nolan Wells case, I am convinced that he was strangled on that boat by Byrd. And this is why. So with the audio and the confirmation, I was waiting for more of an expert kind of level. So like Nancy Grace, and she's bringing all these experts and confirming transcripts that I've heard from other creators on here that isolated some of the voice on there. Yeah, whoever this Bart guy, he strangled Nolan. That's where I'm at. And this is why also with the second autopsy, they said that parts of his neck, the organs inside were missing. I think they're trying to cover up that he was strangled.
Well, the new audio came out from that CTO dispatch. I want y'all ass to jail. From Bart to Wyatt to that damn mom who was that judge. Yeah, I knew something happened to Nolan Wells. Look, in that CTO dispatch call, before somebody picked up, can we cover it up? You killed him. Is he already dead? Nolan, wake up. Look, damn it, Bart. I think Bart ass did it. That's what I think. Look, wake the up. They panicking. They need to be in jail by tonight.
You're about to get everything that's coming to you. But what's getting me is the fact that why is the internet solving this case before the sheriff's office? That's what gets me. Y'all were so quick to declare that there was no foul play. Just an accident. And look what we're turning up here.
There's things that seem weird there. And it's still, to me, you were in the location where his body was found, very close to where his body was found. And that's when you called for help and your grandfather called to cancel help, and there were 7 people on the boat, and there's some commotion in the background, and it doesn't sit right with me. Like I said, boating culture, I don't know how you leave with 7 people in a boat full of water. And I also don't know how you leave with 7 people and not a boat full of water and end up not going very far, because they were still right off the west tip, and having a boat full of water. I need somebody to explain to me how that happened in calm seas with a boat that was operational when you loaded it.
To note, Wells will be found 2 days later in the same part of the island where these now boats would depart from, adding to more coincidences that point out a cover-up for some. Let's talk about it more in the comments below. Now that we re-listen to the audio, does it still capture what may have been Nolan's final moments, or does it capture a frantic situation and frustration settling in, causing someone to yell, "Damn it, Bart," as well as a young lady crying out for fear of a sinking boat? Reporting live from Migrants Club, Fright Plus News, I'm John Abba.
All right, Shabaka, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I'm leaning towards the cover-up, Brother Che.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, because there's a whole lot of questions that are not answered. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, of course, too, information I came across said that they had removed parts of his body.
Yeah, his lungs is missing.
The Trump administration is planning a major.
His lungs was missing. His stomach was missing.
Mm-hmm.
There's something else missing. So that's
okay. With his lungs missing, and what else did you say was missing, Brother Che?
His lungs was missing. His throat was missing.
Okay, lungs, throat. And what was the third one that was missing?
His stomach.
Ah, his stomach. Okay, so this here is quite clearly, ladies and gentlemen, a cover-up to the utmost. And it's a strategic cover-up of taking of his throat and his stomach. So they probably killed him, man, you know, while he was consuming that drink of beer. They probably put something in there. Now, all this here is speculation on my part. But something is very, very odd. If you're supposed to be out there with 7 friends, quote, friends, why is the brother only one who came up drowned?
Right.
You see,
but
this shit don't add up.
We can't tell he drowned because they took his lungs. We can't tell if he drowned or not. I think he was dead already, and they just throw him in the water to try to cover it up. That's what they keep talking about.
Yeah, they took the vital organs that would explain or give a theory to the actual cause of death.
Right.
And this is why you heard me on this case. I really wish that Thomas Noguchi was still with us, you see, because he was no nonsense when he did his autopsies, you see?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he was the coroner of Los Angeles County, man, for about 40 years. Mm-hmm.
All right, Shabaka. So we're going to move on to the next topic, and that is the James Byrd effect.
Oh, yeah. Down in the great state of Texas.
Several videos going up for that.
Yeah, and the reason why I mentioned that, man, we're going to look for some similarities.
Yeah. You got the TV on or something, Shabaka.
No, hold on. Let me turn it off. Thank you, man. And the cool part about it is I call myself turning it down.
Now with our senior reporter, Phil Archer in Jasper.
And Phil, a memorial service is going to be held there tonight for Byrd.
Hey, Sister Val.
That's correct, and that's underway right now. Some of James Byrd's family are in Huntsville right now to witness the execution, as Sevilla just said.
Hey, how you doing, Sister Val?
In this small park named for James Byrd, to meet with friends and clergy and remember the man murdered in one of the most brutal hate crimes in American history. It has been almost
and nobody
20 years,
failed.
but those painful memories are still fresh today. James Byrd grew up in a religious family of 8 children in Jasper. He loved music and hoped to be remembered for his playing. But a chance encounter on a deserted street in June 1998 ensured he would be remembered for the terrible way he died.
Hey, Joe.
One of his sisters, Betty Boatner, wanted to gather with friends and family here tonight to remember and pray and help others find peace.
Let the people know that we're coming together as one, and we having prayer for the whole world, that it was a hardship on the Byrd family, but we are overcomer. So why not let the world know that we forgave them and everything will be all right.
Wow.
They're also praying here for Bill King, who has never shown remorse or asked for forgiveness.
It's important to me.
Okay, I see really Joe made a compliment in here, Brother Che. I can't read it because I'm on the cell phone.
I spoke to Bill several times with his dad, and Bill never asked forgiveness.
Closure is perhaps an overused word, but tonight, James Byrd's family and friends and this small community are looking for it. James Byrd is buried in the Jasper City Cemetery, and ironically, Bill King will be brought back here to Jasper to be buried in the same cemetery, not far from it. Reporting live in Jasper, I'm Phil Archer, KPRC Channel 2 News.
All right, so that's the initial news report.
In 1998, in a small East Texas town called Jasper, a crime took place that shocked the nation. Not because America hadn't seen racial violence before, but because it felt like something pulled straight from another century. His name was James Byrd Jr. He was 49 years old, a father, a brother, and a man known for walking the streets of his hometown because he didn't own a car. And on one June night, James Byrd Jr. accepted what he believed was a simple act of kindness, a ride home, but he never made it. James Byrd Jr. was born in 1949 in Beaumont, Texas, and spent much of his life in Jasper. Friends and family described him as quiet, polite, and non-confrontation. He was well known around town. People recognized him because he walked everywhere, to the store, to visit friends, and just to pass time. This was not a stranger passing through. This was a man rooted in his community. In the early morning hours of June 7, 1998, James Byrd Jr. was walking home when three white men pulled up beside him in a pickup truck and offered him a ride. Their names were Sean Berry, Lawrence Russell Brewer, and John William King. Unbeknownst to Byrd, Brewer and King were known white supremacists, both with ties to racist prison gangs and visible white power tattoos. Instead of taking him home, they drove him to a remote area outside Jasper. There, they beat him. They chained him by his ankles to the back of the truck, and they drove off. For nearly 3 miles, James Byrd Jr. was dragged along an asphalt road. Forensic evidence later showed that he was alive for much of the ordeal. Along the road, pieces of his body were scattered, a trail of violence that investigators would later follow to reconstruct what happened. The dragging ended when his body struck a culvert, severing his head and right arm. The men did not stop out of remorse. They stopped because they believed he was dead. They dumped what remained of his body near an African-American cemetery and went on with their lives. Later that morning, residents of Jasper discovered body parts along the road. What they saw was so horrifying that some initially believed it had been staged, that it couldn't possibly be real. But it was. News spread quickly, and Jasper became the center of national attention. For many Black Americans, the crime felt painfully familiar. A modern echo of lynchings and racial terror long thought to be relegated to history books. All 3 men were arrested within days. Prosecutors charged them with capital murder. Evidence showed that the attack was racially motivated. Brewer and King openly expressed racist beliefs, and witnesses testified to their hatred of Black people. John William King and Lawrence Russell Brewer were sentenced to death. Sean Berry received life in prison. Brewer, who showed no remorse, was executed in 2011. And King was executed in 2019. The murder of James Byrd Jr. forced the country to confront an uncomfortable truth that racial hatred was not a relic of the past. It was alive and thriving. The case directly influenced changes to hate crime laws in Texas. It was the catalyst to the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2009. James Byrd Jr.'s name became more than a headline. It became a symbol, a reminder of the cost of hatred and the consequences of ignoring it. For more great content, check out the channel. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Boy, this is with some dirty shit.
That's clearly a hate crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah.
From the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah, and that's the shit they're trying to put on us as a people.
It is extremely hard to go back to Jasper. Just seeing the city limits of Jasper, Texas, the trees caving in, and seeing a long, rugged road would just bring back the memories.
One of the worst hate crimes this nation has ever seen. Byrd was kidnapped and then tied behind a pickup truck and dragged for nearly 3 miles in the East Texas city of Jasper, all because he was Black.
The legacy of a gruesome hate crime still haunts this small Texas town.
Their lives changed forever on June 7th, the day of Byrd's murder.
Now, who was he drinking with?
Bad this was.
Was he drinking by himself, or was he drinking with one of them old good old boys?
Kind of swept under the rug.
And it changed one family forever.
Okay, that's how he was set up.
23 years ago.
They let him get under the influence, and he lowered his guard.
They don't know about James Byrd Jr., the Black man that was dragged behind a pickup truck. I would describe my dad as witty, the life of the party, and very free-spirited.
Wow. She ain't bad looking.
The day before my dad was brutally murdered, he wasn't himself. I don't know if he felt something.
I was actually in basic training, and my sergeants woke me up and told me, I had a phone call. It was pretty important.
The phone rang, and I heard my sister just scream. But when I heard her scream, she hit the wall, and she said, "Daddy."
It's something you don't want to never get a phone call for, I tell you like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly. On a Saturday night in June 1998, James Byrd Jr. caught a ride
Nolan
with
Wells
3 white
syndrome.
men in Jasper, Texas.
Going out there fucking with
They
these
drove him down a dark
Nabiscos.
country road, beat him, and then chained him alive to a pickup truck and
Damn.
dragged his body for 3 miles until he was decapitated.
Oh my God.
Found the body on his way to church, and he called the sheriff's department because it was outside of the city limits.
The sheriff immediately called the FBI in for backup, but it didn't take long for the news to spread through town.
He took the ministers out there and showed us, and we saw where the teeth were and where the baseball cap was and where the arm and the head were, and it was horrible. He wanted us to know.
You're right, Joe. We don't have no allies. We all we got. We are all we got, and we did a show on
Are you a
it.
white supremacist, sir? Are you a white supremacist?
The day after the murder, police arrested John William King, Russell Brewer, and Sean Allen Berry.
We believe that Bill King wanted to start a KKK group in this community and needed to do something phenomenal, earth-shattering, because Bill was a brilliant kid, but he was evil.
Damn.
It was Jasper. There was not a lot of hard news there. There was not a lot of controversy there. It had a large population of African Americans living in Jasper. So it would have been the last place in East Texas that I would have thought this would happen.
Over the last 2 decades, reporter Angel San Juan covered how the town of Jasper has tried to move on from the tragedy.
The town was horrified. And from the beginning, it was important for Jasper to say that, hey, we're not all like that.
This is Klan country, has been Klan country, and will be Klan country from now on.
The Klan decided to come in. The new Black Panthers decided to come in.
Oh, yeah, the Black Panthers came. Yeah, I remember that when Black Panthers came in on
When
it.
the Klan is trying to leave the scene and Black militia groups are trying to confront them.
But what they did is
And the white
local
police
folks,
is helping
they
the
stayed
Klan.
away. The ministers in Jasper of all faiths came together and they led the community.
We need prayer for healing, and we want everyone, Black, white, Hispanic, everyone.
We learned that there was a great deal of prejudice in our community that we kind of swept under the rug.
Man, look at what goddamn state you in, motherfucker. That is an insult to
There were
my
a few
intelligence.
people that would almost try to blame Mr. Byrd.
It was Texas
No one
that
deserves
brought
to
out
die
the
that
slave
way.
patrols.
No, it was South Carolina.
Oh, okay. But I do know the slavery in Texas was very
we were going
brutal
to change them by how we lived our lives.
And you can still see the tree line.
because
That
didn't Texas
divided
invent the slave
white
patrollers?
From the
No,
Black
it's South
cemetery.
Carolina.
The Jasper City
Okay.
Cemetery was still segregated. It was divided. There was a white side and a black side.
And we took down the fencing.
Damn.
For us, it was very, very meaningful.
Until we actually see that justice is done, then I believe only then will we begin to heal here in Jasper.
John William King became the first white man in Texas history to be sentenced to death for killing a black man.
Did they kill him?
His execution. He literally
Yeah,
just
they-
went to sleep.
Good.
And you think of James Byrd Jr.'s death. He committed the crime, yet he just went to sleep. And James Byrd Jr. just struggled to the very end.
Russell Brewer was sentenced and executed as well, and Sean Allen Berry is still serving life in prison.
Good morning, Sean.
When I found out that my dad was brutally killed by 3 white supremacists, I was in denial. I was numb. I was 16 years old. So love and forgiveness was no part of my thought process at that moment.
Hell no. Don't blame me, sister.
I was fighting for a country that killed my old man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was hard for me to remain in the service after that. James Byrd did what he wanted to do. And, you know, he was that type of person. I take after him a lot. Smart, intelligent, charismatic. At the end of the day, you can't turn into the hater. You know, I'm just being honest with you. It's not a happy life.
Wow.
In 2009, President Barack Obama signed a hate crimes law named after James Byrd Jr.
We will strengthen the protections against crimes based on the color of your skin, the faith in your heart, or the place of your birth.
23 years later, I still get angry, but it's how you channel your anger. And I choose to channel it in a positive manner. So this is a journey for me. My dad did not get killed at the hands of a police officer. But in today's world, that is what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of brutality by the hands of officers. The murder of George Floyd, it was a challenging point for me to put on my uniform. Just the disappointment that our country is still enduring racism in the magnitude that it is. I want to be that officer, if nothing else. Just be there in solidarity, be there as, hey, you know, I know what you're going through.
How many George Floyds do we got to be? You know, how many James Byrds do we got to be? So we got to start back loving each other. It don't make no sense.
Now we start defending ourselves and smashing some of them Nabiscos. That will get their mind right, because that's the only thing they fucking understand.
Right.
Like many small towns in America, fall in Paris, Texas means Halloween and haystacks. But this year, a gruesome killing has raised racial tensions among the town's 26,000 residents. On September 16th, Brandon McClellan was on a late-night beer run with 2 white friends. For some reason, McClellan got out of the car, and prosecutors say the driver ran him over.
The victim in this case was horribly dismembered. He was struck by a car and dragged under the undercarriage of that car for some distance as a result of being struck by that car.
The case has drawn comparisons to the killing of James Byrd, who was chained to a pickup truck and dragged to death by white supremacists about 250 miles away in the town of Jasper a decade ago.
Connecting this to a Jasper-style dragging is absolutely preposterous. I can tell you, yes, Mr. McClellan was dragged, but it was because he was caught in the undercarriage of the vehicle. It was not a situation where he was roped or chained to the back of the truck.
A lot of things that they're not saying, and you know, it's kind of bothering the family and how they handle this case.
The family has turned to a local civil rights group to demand that any possible racial motivation in the case is looked into.
It's a lot of racial things that's going on in Paris, Texas, which it have been for a long time.
They want the DA to at least look into the possibility of if it was a hate crime or not.
The district attorney's office says there's no evidence of a hate crime, but they
Ain't
don't
that
getting
a
you
bitch?
information.
Speculation
Ain't that a
and rumor
bitch?
is fueling a lot of things about this case at this point that have been unfounded to this point.
Meanwhile, the 2 men who were in the truck are jailed on murder charges, and prosecutors say their goal is justice for Brandon McClellan, whether the incident was racially motivated or not. Sophia Manos, The Associated Press.
You see, Jesse, we don't have no friends. We
Meantime,
are all
the
we
late
got.
Senator Lindsey Graham laid to rest in our nation's capital today.
All right, Shabaka, what are your final thoughts on the James Byrd effect?
Okay, that we don't have no friends. We cannot be that damn gullible. Hey, come have a beer, you know, and we kick it, and you the guest of honor. Know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking this is what happened with Mr. Nolan Wells as well too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. There's an old saying from South Central Los Angeles, Che. You probably heard it. I'ma get him drunk, then I'm gonna mug him.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yep. So this stresses why we need an anti-Black, anti-FBA hate crime bill.
Hell yeah.
Hey. All right,
and then
white supremacist Lindsey Graham kicked the bucket and he had his funeral today.
Oh, well, that's great news.
Those who knew him throughout his decades in the military and as a public servant speaking about his legacy at a packed private funeral service.
Sydney Shadrax is live at the Capitol in Sydney. So rare to see one person bring so many powerful people together today.
Nigel Shale, hundreds of people honoring his legacy, from U.S. political leaders to world leaders, family, former staffers, even his hometown pastor. The cathedral today filled with songs, hymns, and the lives that Lindsey Graham made an impact on over his decades of service. All of them recalling their favorite moments with the man they called a true American original. President Donald Trump sharing that in their nearly decade of friendship, Senator Lindsey Graham never forgot where he came from and used his position to always give back.
Yeah,
There's
right.
probably not a single town in South Carolina where Lindsey did not help repair a bridge, expand a school, improve a hospital, or recover from a disaster. He was a force of nature, and I will miss him greatly.
There's too many to mention. The hard work.
Graham leaving behind a legacy of service, known for reaching across the aisle, defending what he believed was right, while also forming close relationships with lawmakers, regardless of whether they always agreed with him. The Air Force veteran was a staunch supporter of the military and of Ukraine and Israel until his death, and was a giant in the U.S. Senate. Of course, now big shoes to fill in the Senate. President Donald Trump saying that nothing would be more fitting than Lindsey Graham's proudest legacy, his sister, Darlene Graham, continuing to serve the country and South Carolina. Live at the U.S. Capitol, Sydney Shadrax, WIFF News 4.
Sydney, thank you. And services for the late Lindsey Graham will be held in South Carolina tomorrow. Services will begin with a procession to the South Carolina State House at 10:45 in the morning. The procession will briefly pause around 11 a.m. for a flyover. Then a funeral at First Baptist Church of Columbia will start at noon, followed by a private burial in Pickens County.
And due to that burial in Pickens County, there are expected to be some road closures. Our Leah Phillips has more on what drivers can expect.
This stretch of Highway 93 in Senator Lindsey Graham's hometown is no stranger to traffic, but tomorrow some closures can be expected as he's laid to rest. Here's when and where you'll see those changes out on the roads.
These downtown central streets are preparing to welcome the late senator home one last time, as Senator Graham is set to be buried alongside his parents at Mount Zion Cemetery. And town officials want drivers to be aware of some changes they might see if trying to pass through the area on Wednesday. A stretch of Highway 93 from Watkins Street to Cross Creek Road at Town Hall. The complete closure will be in place from 3 p.m. and is expected to reopen to both vehicle and pedestrian traffic by 6:30 Wednesday evening. Police will be on site to help drivers make their way around the affected areas and remind drivers to be extra cautious. Reporting in Central, Leah Phillips, WIFF News 4.
And as the life and legacy of Senator Lindsey Graham is remembered, be sure to join us right here on WIFF News 4 on air and online.
Well, so much for Lindsey Graham. Brother Che.
Yes,
well, folks. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So much for Lindsey Graham, man. You know what I'm saying? and what have you. Because that video of reliving that case in my collective memory of James Byrd, you know. So fuck Lindsey Graham.
Right.
Because Lindsey Graham stood for that same bullshit that killed Mr. Byrd. That same bullshit that killed Mr. Emmett Till. That same bullshit that caused so many of the civil rights workers havoc and what have you. You see?
Yeah.
And after looking at shit like this, well, you know, after looking at a tragedy like this, it's hard to go out here and participate in a process that is dedicated to our destruction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You see?
Lady chilling if you seen the funeral.
Have I seen the funeral of who?
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, I was seeing that shit earlier on the TV today where they had this dead ass out there in front of where they brought him into the Capitol, showing the military hauling his casket up the steps. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But like I said, with these James Byrd cases, the Breonna Taylor cases, the Tamir Rice cases, you know what I'm saying, the George Floyd cases, it's very difficult for me to have sympathy, how should we say, of the dominant society that performs these atrocities on us and nobody's held accountable. Do you see?
Yep, I agree.
I mean, seriously, you know? Seriously. And, you know, and free Carmelo Anthony for defending himself.
Right.
You see?
That.
You know?
That.
See, and it's kind of like when the Black Panthers was doing their thing. You know, hey, point number 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality. So what the damn state of California did under that goddamn Ronald Reagan, who was the governor, well, you can't possess weapons out in public like that no more.
Yep.
But yet, though, the police does. You see what I'm saying?
All right, so we're going to move on to Governor Andy Beshear gives Mitch McConnell an ultimatum. Speak up, step down.
Whoa.
So,
well, let
Mitch
McConnell step down. Because they're going to be planting his ass soon, too.
They've been there for a long time.
Yeah. Well, he's what they call a career politician, lady. Check.
Beard growth oil I got from 12 tribes on Earth. 8 ounces of oily goodness with a nozzle that prevents sprays and spills, and soft ingredients that make it perfect addition to anyone's morning routine. From coconut to castor, all these oils are hand chosen. After using this herbal blend, the biggest thing I noticed is how soft, how strong my hair was, and how good I feel. Pick up your bottle today and make your beard the star of the show.
After this, I'll be number ice.
Brother Che.
I'm still here, somebody.
Yeah, he's still
Okay.
He's just in the back of the fridge. He's at the fridge.
Oh. Yeah, because I hear something going on, like he's, going through
Shalom,
stuff.
family. Good to see everyone. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about Andy Beshear, the Kentucky governor that's been calling for Mitch McConnell to speak up or do a video talking or something to let everybody know he's still with us. Mitch has been gone for 42 days without anybody hearing a peep out of him. Yes, all these Republicans talking about they spoke to him. I don't believe none of them. I think they're all lying. They know damn well they ain't speak to no damn Mitch McConnell. So anyway, y'all, all the pictures, because it's really weird because all of the pictures, he's sitting there in the bed. You don't see him hooked up to any monitors. You don't see him hooked up to nothing. You don't even see an IV in his arm. Nothing. And that in itself, why would you still be in a hospital if you don't require anything and you're just sitting there? So anyway, the governor is pretty much saying, either speak to your constituents, speak up, or resign. Because Kentucky deserves representation. That's what he's pretty much saying. And Mitch ain't much of a representation. All he does is sit in his position and undermine everyone except for us. Everybody he undermines, and he really sticks it to us for real. So, look, 42 days. Think about that. If you had a job and you just dropped off the radar for 42 days, you wouldn't have a job anymore. You wouldn't have any job. Y'all set bad examples. You really do. And what is the point of not announcing if a person is no longer here? If they're not, they're not. Life goes on. And their excuse is they don't want a Democrat to take over his seat. Well, how you going to do that if he's in the grave? It's not like the Republicans are doing that well in the midterms anyway. But I think his seat to them is important. So they want it to stay Republican. But I don't know how you go. I don't see how you can do this in the long term. So if it's 42 days now, pretty soon it's going to be 60 days and then 80 days. I mean, come on. If the man is not here, he's just not here. Okay? He's just not here. Plain and simple. He ain't Superman. Of course, he's going to go to the graveyard one day. He's 84 years old.
Oh, shit. Yeah, they need to go on and replace his
all
ass.
This new stuff is coming out, talking about, his polio got worse and all that. I said, y'all
polio, they eradicated that shit
90 times. Didn't he suffer a heart attack or a cardiac arrest?
Yes.
Yeah. He did.
And now his polio is acting up. Y'all just announce the man gone already. For real. So anyway, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see here. The Crawford Experience. Thank you for the 10 joules gold coin and the Crawford Experience. Thank you for the 20-month membership. Mitch Freeze is in the freeze right now. In the freezer right now. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I tell you what, wherever he is, he's unable to speak because he has not spoken in 42 days. And it makes me laugh, all these Republicans. I spoke to him the other day. And I said, I know y'all lying. I know y'all lying.
Yeah, you got a
y'all
point on that, Lisa.
You ain't speak to no damn Mitch McConnell. Who are you fooling? Okay. But y'all so used to lying, I guess it comes as second nature.
You're doing all right, Michael.
Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Just about an hour ago, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear again called for Senator Mitch McConnell to directly and verbally address the people of his state or resign. Take a listen.
I hope his health is improving. But if he can have a 17 minutes conversation with his protege, he can call into any of your news stations for 3. All we're asking is just a little bit of proof. And I get that everybody wants a certain level of privacy, but when you run for these jobs, you're giving some of that up. All we're asking is what anybody who watches your news, if they were out 6 weeks, they'd be expected to call their boss, that's the people of Kentucky, and explain what's going on and when they'll get back to work.
McConnell released a new statement and photo yesterday saying he's still recovering from the fall that put him in the hospital 6 weeks ago. His doctor said he's not yet medically cleared to return to work.
Governor Andy Beshear is again demanding answers about Senator Mitch McConnell's health, this time calling on him to speak directly to Kentuckians or resign. In letters to McConnell and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Beshear says more than 6 weeks have passed since McConnell was hospitalized. He claims the senator has cast no votes, taken part in no official activities, and has not spoken directly to Kentuckians. He says if McConnell does not show he can still serve, Thune should investigate his condition and determine whether a Senate vacancy is warranted. Meanwhile, McConnell remains in rehab after a June 14th fall left him briefly unconscious. The Capitol's attending physician says McConnell is undergoing several physical therapy sessions a day and has not been cleared to return to work. McConnell's office released this new photo with his wife, Elaine Chao, taken Sunday. The senator says he's working hard to return, adding, quote, "As always, I appreciate all of your continued well wishes. I'm looking forward to getting back to the Senate and to Kentucky soon." McConnell will miss this weekend's Fancy Farm picnic.
While McConnell won't be there, Fox 56 News will once again take you to the annual Fancy Farm picnic. The Western Kentucky tradition is best known for its political speeches, and the crowd isn't shy about joining the debate. This year's lineup includes U.S. Senate candidates Andy Barr and Charles Booker, along with Democratic candidates for governor Jacqueline Coleman and Rocky Adkins. Watch the Fancy Farm picnic this Saturday, starting at 2 p.m. on the Fox 56 streaming channel.
Senator Mitch McConnell, of course, remains hospitalized. McConnell's team revealing tonight the senator is not yet medically cleared to return to the Senate following polio complications.
Mitch McConnell owes the people of Kentucky, who are his boss, who have elected him repeatedly, a lot more transparency than this. All we've gotten are 2 photos and statements that virtually anybody could put out there. I mean, he's had a 17-minute conversation with his protege, Scott Jennings, but he can't call in for 3 minutes to Bloomberg or anywhere else, just so we know he still has the capacity. So I sent another letter today demanding that he provide verbal proof that he has the capacity to continue. But I also sent one to John Thune, because as now the majority leader in the Senate, he has a duty too to make sure that all of their members have the capacity and can represent the people of their states. And what I told Leader Thune is there are only 3 ways for a vacancy, to my knowledge, to happen: a resignation, a death, or a vote of expulsion, a vote that there is not capacity from the Senate itself. If Mitch McConnell won't level with the people of Kentucky and the United States, Senator Thune has a duty to do so.
A Kentucky constitutional provision that says that I appoint all state officers when there's a vacancy. The question is, does that apply to federal offices? If we end up there, and I hope we don't, there's at least going to be probably a little disagreement. Well, certainly my hope is that Senator McConnell will provide us the assurances.
But at the same token, Jesse, I would say it depends on that state's constitution.
Vacancy, I will look at my authority as governor to make sure that we are represented as Kentuckians.
Well, do I understand it correctly that August 3rd is a key deadline here, that if Mitch McConnell continues in this capacity through the 3rd, then you will not have an opportunity to name a replacement until the actual election is held?
There's an argument out there that's a date where I could not later call a special election.
A lifetime help.
And for those that are really pushing this.
Would you challenge that?
Well, a lot of those that are pushing this are online and I think are under the impression that a Democrat in Kentucky might be able to win that election. It's been since 1992 that we have had a Democratic senator in Kentucky. You mentioned a lot of missed votes. I want to point out some other missed votes that might not be a bad thing. He hasn't been there to vote on the SAVE Act, which would tear voting rights away. He hasn't been there to vote to support this war in Iran that this president started that shouldn't be continuing. He's not there to vote for a potential replacement of a Supreme Court justice to continue a court that would tear down the Voting Rights Act. So listen, when you look at some of this, a vacancy, not having Mitch McConnell show up isn't necessarily a bad thing, because he certainly doesn't show up to help the American people.
What up, black folks? Turtle Watch, day 38. These monkey motherfuckers issue another goddamn, what's that, AI photo of the turtle and his wife? These motherfuckers playing in our face, y'all. Mitch McConnell is dead. Dead and gone. We will not hear from that monkey motherfucker ever again. They trying to run out the clock, y'all, so they don't have to have this special election in August. I think it's by August 10th or 13th or some shit. As long as he lived to that day, then they don't have to do some shit. But I guarantee you, once that day passes, they will announce the death of the turtle. These motherfuckers playing in our face, y'all. Mitch McConnell is not only dead, he's probably decomposing at this fucking point because he's been dead a long fucking time, y'all. The turtle is dead. They hiding it from us, and that's a bad thing. The fact that we won't hear from that monkey motherfucker ever again, that's a good thing. Please.
Okay, y'all, I'm back again with yet another update in the ongoing saga around Mitch McConnell. On Monday, July 27th, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear sent another letter to McConnell's office demanding some sort of proof of life. Mind you, Beshear also sent a letter a few weeks ago, but that letter was much shorter and essentially just said that they deserve some sort of update, some sort of details, something. Beshear is much more direct in his new letter, which you can pause to read here if you like. In it, Beshear says that McConnell should verbally directly address Kentuckians, and if he is unable to do that, Beshear then calls on Senate Majority Leader John Thune to start investigating McConnell's condition. And if the investigation warrants it, Thune should then begin the process of expelling McConnell, Beshear says. Beshear has faced so many demands over the last several weeks to do something, literally anything about McConnell and McConnell's whereabouts, but his hands are pretty tied around what he as the governor can do. He says in his letter that essentially the only way that Kentuckians can replace McConnell right now is that if he dies, if he resigns, or if he is expelled by the Senate itself. As always, make sure to follow Hellbender Newsroom for more details on Mitch McConnell.
Okay, Kentucky Democratic Governor Andy Beshear is starting to turn up the heat. He said just a little while ago today, it's Tuesday, July 28th, that Senator Mitch McConnell should resign if he can't, quote, directly and verbally address the people of Kentucky, end quote. He says that McConnell should provide proof of your capacity to serve, escalating pressure on the former Republican Senate leader as he continues to recover, supposedly, allegedly, from a fall that left him hospitalized well over a month ago. A fall. If a little fall, and you said you have no other medical issues, but you're just in physical therapy, and it's been a month, we know you're all lying. Beshear didn't say that, I did. But this is from an article on Politico, and it says that Beshear went on to say, during that time, you have cast 0 votes during the 30 days plus that he's been in the hospital. You've engaged in no official activities, and aside from 2 photos and corresponding statements, have made no effort to communicate with your Kentucky constituents or the nation. As you all know, Mitch McConnell is 84 years old and literally has not been seen or heard from since June 14th, when he supposedly fell at his house, and yet EMT workers radioed to dispatch that the patient had cardiac arrest and they were performing CPR, which Mitch McConnell denied. So I don't know what this all means, but it's coming to a head, and August 4th is the deadline for McConnell to resign or for him to be declared dead, and that Governor Andy Beshear can call for the special election. After that, they do not have to have a special election. They can simply wait until November's midterms. So some people would say, well, so forget it. Stop worrying about it. Just wait until his term runs out. Well, his term doesn't run out until January. And the Republicans are scared to death that if a special election were to occur, that a Democrat would either get in or a Republican who would not vote alongside his or her fellow Republicans. Get those handcuffs ready, because people are breaking lots of laws surrounding Mitch McConnell.
That is some funny shit
I think
right
the whole
there.
thing is stupid. They need to just announce the man is gone already. You know, like I said, when I first heard it, they said cardiac arrest. Then maybe a few weeks later, I heard a fall. then now, today I heard, oh, he's been having problems with his polio. All right, well, which one is it? Which one is it? And like I said, if he is in that bad of shape, shouldn't he be hooked up to something in these pictures? A heart monitor? If you went, wouldn't they keep a heart monitor? I mean, nothing. You just sitting there like you should be at home. So no, I definitely don't believe any of the pictures they put out. I don't believe.
Well, I say, fuck the motherfucker. Go on and let him die and go up there and elect another senator.
Yeah.
Because his ass is incapacitated anyway, just by the nature of they saying what his ailments are.
Freezing at the mic all the time. So he already was not in good shape, and in all honesty.
Does that make any sense what I said?
For real.
Yes.
So
hey, Joe.
Come up with y'all, because I don't believe the man is here. I really
inhaling droplets
Lisa
from
Pfeiffer,
an infected person's cough or sneeze. Yeah.
Finger heart. Thank you so much for your support for my channel. Thank you. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Yeah, it's nothing but a geriatric home, up in Congress and the Senate. These people seriously do not want to let go of whatever power they have. They want to hang on for dear life. And I guess Mitch is trying to take his to the graveyard. He gonna stay in power from the graveyard, y'all. All right. So I will see you on the next live, y'all. We're going to talk about the heat wave and wildfire over there in Europe. So I will see you at 6:45. Shalom, family.
Shalom, Lisa.
All right, Lisa. As far as them people over there frying, from that heat in France, well, there could be the power of the ancestors there.
Hi, I'm Lindsey Weiser. We have breaking news.
I got an update on Biden, Chicago, Seattle.
On the what?
The bite of Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Out of Seattle, where authorities are giving an update after a shooting at a food festival there, which left 3 people dead and 4 injured. Authorities are about to give us an update here, but we know from what CBS News has reported that it appears to have been a fight between 2 people or 2 groups, and that the victims were bystanders who were simply caught in the crosshairs. Let's listen. Sure.
It's taking us so long to talk.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here today, and I'm sorry that we have to gather under such tragic circumstances. I'm going to share the basics of what we know, and after my remarks, Chief Scoggins and Chief Barnes will be sharing additional detail. Shortly after 6 p.m. last night, officers responded to the sound of gunfire. They were assigned to support Bite of Seattle and were on scene within seconds and took 1 suspect into custody. No police weapons were discharged. We believe that 2 people exchanged gunfire outside the Seattle Center Armory. 7 victims were caught in the crossfire, with a possible 8th. And again, Chief Scoggins will be providing more detail about the victims after my remarks. A 19-year-old man, a 44-year-old man, and a 56-year-old woman were killed. 2 died at the scene, and a 3rd passed away at Harborview Medical Center. Official identification will come from the King County Medical Examiner's Office. The Seattle Police Department detained a 15-year-old juvenile in connection with the shooting. The teen was booked into the Judge Patricia H. Clark Children and Family Justice Center for investigation for firearms violations and first-degree assault. We believe this teenager opened fire in the crowd but details are still under investigation. This individual will have a first appearance court hearing at 1:30 p.m. today. And again, we have not formally arrested anyone for investigation of homicide. We appreciate your patience and we are releasing information when we can. Please remember that we are only 17 hours into this case. I know there have been a lot of questions about this, so I do want to briefly address the timeline last night. At Seattle Center, we had an active investigation ongoing, including continued search for a possible second suspect. SPD conducted a briefing with elected officials online at 9 p.m., including many people standing here today. We were advised that it was better for me and others not to be on the scene. Once it became clear that SPD was ready to brief the press, I, the governor, Congresswoman Jayapal, made our way rapidly to Seattle Center so that we would be able to be there to share that information with you all. What are we doing right now? So right now, this is an all hands on deck response. Investigating this tragedy has been taken on by nearly every part of our police department. Our Human Services Department Victim Advocates team is working with SPD to support the needs of the victims and their families. And we are so grateful for their incredible work and dedication. Two victim advocates work alongside SPD detectives in the Violent Crimes Unit to help survivors navigate the criminal legal system, understand their rights, and gain access to crime victims' compensation, among other resources. Community Passageways is reaching out to the affected families immediately and offering in-home support to help families legal victim support and other systems. The organization is also convening an emergency meeting to assess the possibility of retaliation, identify ongoing safety concerns, and help the people involved to navigate those risks. Support is tailored to each family's circumstances. Our immediate priorities are to help families remain safe, reduce the risk of future violence, and make sure that they have practical and emotional support during the first days following the shooting. I want to acknowledge that this has been an especially tough week here in Seattle. Thursday night, there was a shooting near Aurora in North Seattle, again in Capitol Hill on Friday night, and now at the Seattle Center last night. While the police department continues their investigations, we cannot let up on implementing a multi-pronged gun violence strategy. We know that gun violence can be prevented. Evidence-based strategies have proven results in cities across the nation. We know that a successful gun violence reduction strategy is based on strong partnerships between community leaders who design and implement neighborhood-based prevention strategies, social service providers focused on the root causes of violence, community members with moral authority over group members who can deliver a credible message against violence, community members who can interrupt cycles of violence and de-escalate tensions before they erupt, and law enforcement who can hold group members accountable if they decide not to put down their guns. The City of Seattle is partnering with state, federal, and local government partners to launch a gun violence reduction strategy that will build on programs, services, and law enforcement efforts already underway. We will be bringing on an expert in gun violence reduction, including youth violence prevention, who will partner with city staff and our community-based partners. Chief Barnes and the Seattle Police Department will be implementing near-term strategies to amplify our summer efforts, and I'll let the chief describe those momentarily. We are committed to working in impacted neighborhoods across our city, from Rainier Beach to the Chinatown International District and Little Saigon, to Capitol Hill, to North Aurora, to address both the immediate impacts and the root causes of gun violence. And I also want to express appreciation for our City Attorney, Erica Evans, for her leadership in beginning to use extreme risk protection orders to take guns away from people at high risk of committing violence. No one should have to fear for their safety or their life before attending an event, gathering with friends, or experiencing our city. No parent should have to worry that their kid won't come home at the end of the day. My heart is with the victims of last night's tragedy and their families and everyone who is suffering for their loss. And I also know that many people who were not physically injured will carry what they experienced yesterday with them for a long time. The terror and the trauma of gun violence reaches far beyond those who are struck by the bullets. I want to express profound gratitude to our police officers who were on the scene and responded immediately and with care and decisiveness, and to everyone at the Seattle Police Department who has been working nonstop since this tragedy occurred. And our Seattle firefighters and the medical personnel at Harborview who treated the injured, as well as Seattle Center and event staff and bystanders who helped people to reach safety and provided aid in terrifying circumstances. We are in this together, and now I'm going to turn the mic over to Chief Scoggins to provide some more information.
Good morning. I want to lead with expressing condolences to all of the individuals and the families who lost loved ones. I'm going to cover the list of the individuals who passed away and who are still injured. And I'll start out first with those who passed away. On scene, a 19-year-old male was declared deceased at the scene. On scene, a 44-year-old male was declared deceased at the scene. Our paramedics transported a 56-year-old female in serious condition who passed away at Harborview Medical Center. So those are the three individuals who passed away, 2 on scene and 1 at Harborview. Seattle Fire medics and EMTs treated a 40-year-old female with minor injuries who declined to be transported to the hospital. So treated, but not transported. A 39-year-old female in stable condition was transported to Harborview and has since been discharged from Harborview Medical Center. A 2-year-old male was transported to Harborview by Seattle Fire paramedics and is still at Harborview in satisfactory condition. A 23-year-old male was transported in stable condition by paramedics to Harborview and has since been discharged. And last night, a 27-year-old male reported to UW Medical Center, Montlake, in satisfactory condition with a gunshot wound that has since been discharged. And that's possibly the 8th patient, but SPD has to follow up and interview this individual. Now I'll pass it to Chief Barnes.
Certainly last night was a tragedy. It's becoming all too familiar in this community and many communities as well. Any loss of life due to gun violence is unacceptable, as is the terror it causes our community. Our department has been taking a lot of steps to address gun violence this year, and those steps will be increased following this tragic incident last night at Seattle Center. An incident in which 3 people suffered fatal injuries. Our hearts as a department, as a city, as a county, as a state, goes out to those victims and all who were affected by this tragedy. Officers were assigned to work the Seattle, Bite of Seattle event. The staffing was adequate. The placement was good. That's one of the first things that I checked on when I got the first call around 6:30. And because of such, we believe that additional loss or injury of life occurred. Our officers, as well as members from the fire department, medic team, ran toward gunfire in an attempt to render life-saving aid and to disarm someone who was actively firing a weapon into a crowd.
Damn.
We believe that the bullets that were fired were from 2 individuals who appeared to be firing at one another. And as the mayor stated, a 15-year-old suspect was taken into custody. We have a full complement of police officers working on this case, as well as professional staff. They work till about 4 a.m. They're at home now getting some rest. They've been replaced by officers who are working now, professional staff who are working now. We had our regularly scheduled 10 a.m. gun call, which is a gun screening where we analyze every case of gun violence that occur in our city twice a week. We did that today in an attempt to bring everyone up to speed and so that everyone can participate in this particular case. We will leave no stone unturned to bring all of those who may be involved to justice. In Seattle, the problem of gun violence is worsened by small groups. We have small groups that appear to be at odds with each other, and in our city, 0.01% of the population is connected to 52% of our shootings, most of which are young people, which is why our department partners with community members, with our mayor's office, with our prosecutors and our federal partners, some of which are here today, to find the underlying causes of this. With us today is Bishop Witherspoon. He meets with me and a group of pastors almost monthly to talk about how we can help and come together as a community to not only end gun violence, but to wrap our arms around kids that may be on the brink. This is very important work, I believe. This is the work that I got into policing to do. The department alone cannot fix the issue of gun violence. We need the entire system, the entire community to come together to address this now. There is more work to be done, but I believe that we can do it if we do it together. Again, my heart goes out to everyone who was there, everyone who witnessed the gun violence. I want to thank all of our partners who were on the scene, as well as our officers and professional staff. But more importantly, if you were there, or you saw something, or you witnessed something, or you recorded something, I want to give our violent crimes tip line, which is 206-233-5000, or you can simply call 911 with your information so we can screen that with an investigator. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're happy to take some questions.
Can you clear up, Mayor? You put out information yesterday suggesting that 2 people were in custody. We're hearing that there's 1 person in custody. It's unclear if that shooter is still on the loose or if the shooter is deceased. Can you clear that up?
Yeah, so what I'll say, I think in complex situations like this, information flies around. And so that initial report that we got of 2 suspects in custody was incorrect. And that's part of why it's taken us a while to be able to stand here and say this is accurate information. In terms of the status of the potential second suspect, I'm going to bump that question over to Chief Barnes.
Yeah, we were receiving information that a second suspect potentially ran toward the IMAX theater. So that may have been where some of the confusion were. We use our SWAT team as well as other resources to slowly and meticulously search that area just in case someone was hiding out there. We did not find anyone. In fact, that search really ended probably about 15 minutes before the press conference last night, which could be one of the causes of the delay that you spoke about earlier. So
is there a second shooter on the loose right now?
there is a second shooter. We're trying to identify who that person is. Our officers need your help. If someone saw something, or perhaps if someone has some video, we need to identify that person. We do believe that there was an exchange of gunfire. We have 1 person in custody that our officers took into custody. We need to figure out who that other person is.
Chief, you know that people are angry that this was 5 hours that your department waited to tell people that there is a shooter on the loose. Why wait 5 hours to tell people? And then here we are 17 hours later, and you still don't have that person.
Yeah, again, you're right. We do not have that person in custody, but we wanted to get it right. Again, we were searching the IMAX theater. It was possible that that person could have ran in there if that person would have been taken into custody. Are angry? You should be. Everyone should be angry. But with that anger, you should also be asking yourself, what can I do to prevent this? We have to start partnering together. We have to start working together on this issue of gun violence and getting information out and providing opportunities for people so that things like this do not happen. If I had, really a crystal ball, it would be that we could work with our young people, work with our groups, and make sure that they understand that this is not the way to go. This incident affected a lot of people. Internally, people who visited our amazing city. We're just coming off a very successful event with the FIFA where we had no incidents, and to have something like this this weekend is definitely unacceptable.
But Chief, the mayor's office put out misinformation, and that is serious. Pieces together. Is it safe for me to go outside and shoot her? Do you take that seriously? And this question would go directly to the mayor. What can be done to assure that never happens again?
Well, let me say this. Right. Let me say this. Yes, we take our jobs very seriously. And so we want to get out information as early and as often as possible. It is unfortunate that sometimes in any situation, early information is sometimes incorrect. But what do you do when that happens? You correct that information and then you move forward. How do we get better? We get better by going back. We do after action reviews, which we will do on this case, and we'll try to ensure that the information is correct. But we have to get something out to our community when we can. No, you go ahead, Mike.
Were you in town yesterday?
I was not in town yesterday. I wish that I had a crystal ball and we could schedule gun violence, but we can't. Yesterday, I was in Dallas at the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives Conference. It's their 50th anniversary. At that conference, 2 members from our community were being honored. One of our pastors was given an award for his work in the community, and one of our officers, one of our CSOs, was given an award, and I wanted to be there for that. That's why I was not here.
Do you have any video of this incident from the Seattle Center? You reviewed it yet? They have cameras there.
I do not know if we have video of it. I have not had a briefing on that just yet.
I'm sort of curious, Chief, if you don't mind.
Cameras, we were told yesterday that there were no security cameras in the area where the shooting occurred. Why would that be the case, especially with such a major public?
I'm not sure where the camera placement are. Those, the video unit, they're probably at home asleep now. They'll give me another second briefing this afternoon. We'll be able to answer that question.
I want to go back to 30 minutes.
Hold on, we're going to let the mayor answer the question. Hang on.
Yeah, I'll just say I've been told that the Seattle Center does have cameras, and we are in the process of pulling that footage to see if there's anything relevant in there.
Well, to back up on that too, you know, the CCTV cameras have been a real talker. This could have happened in the stadium district, and you decided to turn those off pending an audit. How do you feel now?
The safety of the residents of Seattle is my highest responsibility, and I take that very seriously. In the course that we've charted on the CCTV cameras, which is a matter of public record, that means balancing various kinds of safety for different communities, and that is the motivation behind the course that we're taking.
Chief, can you please reconcile?
Over here.
Could you reconcile for me? Last night we were told public is in no danger, nothing to worry about here. And then on the other hand, we hear that there is still a second suspect at large. How do you reconcile the two of those?
Yeah, I think you may have been, you know, whenever there's a shooting and we're looking for suspects and that person is not in custody, there's always a danger, right? And so what we want to get out to the public is that the interior scene, what we call our inner perimeter, was secure. I believe that's the message that we were trying to get out. We had a second scene that was only cleared a couple of minutes before the actual press. And so we're trying to get information out as often as we can, but our focus is on the search for the suspect. And so we will certainly, as I stated before, we have no problem with doing after action reviews, understanding how to work better with our communication strategy, making sure you get the information that you need so that you can do your job, which is what? To ensure that our public is informed on public safety matters, because I believe that the public has a right to participate in their own public safety. Well, they can only do that if we get our information out, and that's what we're going to try.
And part of that, I think this is the first time we're hearing.
An idea of motive, and is there any indication that this is related to gang activity?
I don't know if it's gang activity, but certainly group activity. We have to determine the nexus behind what happened. Obviously, with someone so young, we have to determine if this person is a part of a group or a part of a gang, what the ongoing conflict was. But we're gonna do that. Our officers are going to work. We do have an intelligence section that's going to work to identify everyone that was involved to see if there is some connection between the two. But then once we do that, we have to verify that connection.
And Chief, just to be clear, is it possible that one of the victims that died last night is the second shooter?
It is possible, but we do not know that that is the case until we do the investigation. We will make sure, again, you just stated that accuracy is important. So we want to take our time and make sure that we're accurate.
One part of that, two people shooting at each other is a lot different than one person firing indiscriminately. I think this is the first time we're hearing that 17 hours later. What commitment do you all make as elected leaders to make that transparency earlier in the process so people aren't waiting 3 to 5 hours without any sort of clarity?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate that there's a tension here between providing information quickly and providing information accurately, right? So if we had been reporting up to the minute everything that we were hearing in the swirl that happened last night, there would have been a lot of inaccuracies out there that would have confused people and that we then would have had to correct. So we are managing this tension, and we are doing the best that we can to provide accurate information in a timely manner without increasing confusion.
I mean, your reaction to people having the chaos in a vacuum.
We've been listening to authorities provide an update on the Seattle mass shooting that left 3 people dead last night at 6 p.m. local time. They believe 2 people exchanged gunfire and that innocent people who were enjoying themselves at this food festival in Seattle got caught in the crosshairs. One suspect A 15-year-old juvenile is in custody. Police are searching for a second suspect. Here's what we know about the casualties. A 19-year-old man and 44-year-old man both died at the scene. A 66-year-old woman died at the hospital, and there are others injured. So in total, there are 7 people affected, possibly 8, because a man walked into a hospital with a gunshot wound, and they are trying to determine if that happened here. Now, a couple of important things to note. First of all, we hear reporters there asking questions of the police chief and the mayor, why it took so long to let the public know that there was another shooter on the loose. It was apparently 5 hours between the shooting and them letting the community know that another shooter was outstanding. And now 17 hours later, and still, it was at the very end of that press conference when the police chief finally said they believe they have a second shooter who is outstanding. And also at the end, they were asked whether it is possible one of the people who died is the second shooter. And the police chief did say that it was a possibility, but they are not certain. And so they are not going to give any more information on that. Let's go ahead and bring in Anna Schechter, who covers crime for CBS News. Anna, what were your other takeaways from this press conference?
Well, the stress on the age of the first suspect, just 15 years old, and the police chief spoke about how there are groups of, he did not want to say gangs, but groups of people that make up about 0.01% of the population, he said, that are behind this issue of gun violence. He stressed that point, but I actually think it's fascinating that the 15-year-old suspect is not giving the information on the second suspect, because if you had that one person in custody talking, you would know the identity of the second person. And officials made it clear they still do not have the identity of the second shooter that they believe was also firing shots. They probably have done a ballistics check, and they believe that there were 2 shooters. So those are the things that jumped out at me watching that press conference.
Were you also surprised at sort of the order of things? Because yes, we did get the number of casualties, everybody who has been affected, but it felt like we were a good 10 minutes in until they had said, yes, we have a second shooter that we are looking for. Just in terms of maybe public fear that there is a shooter on the loose, or is that sort of inside machinations in your professional mind that maybe they do know who this person is and they don't feel like the public is currently at risk?
My read of that is that this was a dispute between 2 people in the minds of the authorities. And so it's not like this was a crazed mass shooter who was out to shoot random people. This was that individual was targeting the initial suspect, the 15-year-old who is currently in custody. And that's why they were not as concerned about public safety, because they're assuming that this was a dispute between the 2 individuals. And so I think that's why, and that caused evidently quite a bit of frustration. You heard the anger in the voices of the reporters who were reflecting how community members are feeling. How could you let a shooter be on the loose for hours and not let us know that? But what I will say is law enforcement clearly believed that the threat was not imminent, that there was not somebody who had sort of a motive to just shoot random citizens without, just randomly. And I think that answer was not satisfactory to a lot of the reporters. But based on my experience covering this type of thing, I can sort of understand why law enforcement assumed that that second suspect, once he got away or he or she got away, they were not going to be opening fire and shooting at other people.
I think one of the most tragic parts about this, of which there are many, Anna, is that one of the victims is just a 2-year-old little boy who was taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound, but is listed in satisfactory condition. So hopefully that boy is okay. We'll be able to make a recovery. But clearly this community also is dealing with the issue of gun violence on a larger scale here. The mayor did talk about this multi-pronged approach that they want to do. I mean, what is it that you can tell us about what this community is reckoning with and what they're trying to do to rein it in?
Well, this was about the 270th or 271st mass shooting. That's where 4 or more people, not including the shooter, are injured or killed by gun violence. So that's so far this year. We are actually on par to be doing better than last year and the year before. In 2021, we saw a major spike in mass shootings around the country. Now, thinking and talking specifically about Seattle, they clearly have an issue that they're concerned about. This is not the first case where you have a dispute between 2 groups, and that was evident from that press conference. Now, you mentioned that 2-year-old boy. I think we've all been focusing on that. There were some witness accounts of people who saw the boy's mother absolutely distraught. This little boy is in satisfactory condition. Notice that it's not the same as stable condition. So hopefully everything's going to be okay. But I think everybody in that community is praying for that young child. You also saw video from others, people who were just at the food festival, and you see all these strollers, all these families running with very young children. This was an event that brought tens of thousands of people that day. Tons of kids. And how many kids witnessed that? How many kids were running away from that, falling down, maybe getting stepped on? It's just an absolutely horrific thing. So even though we're doing better than previous years and that post-pandemic spike with gun violence, we've got a long way to go. Washington has pretty strict, they have pretty good gun laws, but it's so easy to drive across straight lines purchasing guns in other states. So I'll just say that. And police departments around the country, especially in states with stricter laws, they say that is a major issue and it's just so hard to combat it. I think law enforcement and communities at large have just sort of accepted that people have guns, and what these leaders were talking about, where we've got to have community outreach to prevent young people from falling into gang activity or fall into this type of activity where you have a dispute that ends in people shooting at each other in a crowded space.
So tragic. Anna Schechter, thank you. We are going to monitor all of this and bring you updates as they happen. For now, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching CBS News 24/7.
It is tragic. What do you thought, Shabaka? Shabaka. Shabaka.
I have thoughts.
Go ahead, Lindsey.
I think that I think that that kid who shot and did that is going to be doing a lot of time. He got like 3 dead bodies and four attempted murders, 5 attempted murders on his paperwork now, you know? So I think he's gonna be doing a lot of time since he is 18 years old, and he should be able to say why he did it. I don't know, like why he did it, you know, because it's so young. Why was he activated to do such a thing? So that's where I'll go with it. Yes.
Yeah. Shabaka, are you there?
I
know what time it is, let me say. Shabaka, are you there? I can't hear you, Shabaka. Shabaka. Oh my God. I'm fighting outside. Shabaka.
Uh-huh.
Did you fall asleep?
Yeah, I think I fell asleep, man. Oh, shit.
shit, what's going on here? Because I was listening to everything you were saying, you know. And that is kind of like crazy. And I'm thinking what they're doing is, man, is like for these illegals, they probably, man, are going to be playing devices on basically a kill switch.
Well, we were finishing with this shooting in Seattle, Shabaka.
Okay, yeah, the shooting in Seattle. Okay, it's a very, very unfortunate tragedy that happened. But the thing is, you have to understand about Seattle.
We lost
San Francisco. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so they have more foggy days up there in Canada, you see what I'm saying, than they do in Oakland, okay, and San Francisco and places like that, is because, you know, you got the sun of California coming out there, you see what I'm saying? And then, of course, another thing that affects that they don't talk about the environment up there, man, is how long the days are in the summer and how short the days are in winter. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you're going up there towards the North Pole. So quite naturally, of course, you're going to have, how should we say, those not exactly discrepancies, but those natural elements.
Yeah, with daylight saving time ending, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, because they'll be dark like 7 hours a day. Mm-hmm. I mean, there'll only be light like 7 hours a day, like say from 8 o'clock, okay, then like 3:30, man, you're gonna start seeing the sunset, you know?
Yeah.
See, because it's above the 45th parallel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see, that's what they.
All right, now we're on to ICE to target Haitian migrants as protected status ends.
The Trump administration is planning a major crackdown on Haitian immigrants. Yesterday, more than 300,000 Haitians lost their temporary protected status in the U.S. after a Supreme Court ruling last month. Now, sources tell ABC News ICE is ramping up plans to ramp up operations to arrest and deport them. ABC immigration reporter Armando Garcia has the details.
Hey there, yeah, as of Monday, potentially hundreds of thousands of immigrants who were lawfully present in the country for years are now finding themselves out of a job and susceptible to deportation. That's after the Supreme Court paved the way in June for the Trump administration to end temporary protected status for Haiti and Syria, saying that the decision to end it is not reviewable by a judge. Now, so far, the administration appears to be poised to ramp up enforcement operations targeting Haitians. One source familiar with the situation telling ABC News those potential plans could still change. But in the meantime, Haitian communities across the country are now on edge in court. Attorneys argued that the decision to end protections was based partly on racial animus, and they pointed to several claims that the president and vice president have made about Haitians as an example, including the false claims that they were eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. That community, of course, is one of many now on edge. Several people now out of a job, facing deportation to a country that the U.S. government has told its own American citizens not to travel to because it's too dangerous. Back to you.
Armando Garcia, thank you. Let's bring in the attorney who argued on behalf of these immigrants before the Supreme Court, Jeff Piepoli, for more. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for coming on. So do these immigrants have any options left to stay in the country legally?
It's really difficult to say. We went from having one question to answer legally, which is, will TPS persist, to now having about 350,000 individual questions to answer. Each person's ability to remain in the country now that TPS is over will depend on their individual circumstances. So that's really an impossible question to answer. I will say that in the past 6 months, the Board of Immigration Appeals, which is the administrative law court that sets immigration policy,
man, that case could last 20 years.
For anyone to get asylum, and the percentage of Haitian people that successfully claimed asylum even before that was pretty low. So the paths are pretty narrow. A certain subset of people might have some alternative path, but it's going to be case by case.
Jeff, the Homeland Security Secretary says Haitian migrants can still apply for temporary visas, permanent residence, or choose to take more than $2,000 from DHS to self-deport. What do you make of those options?
I think that they're not real options for most people. Haiti is, without getting too far into the weeds of the legalities here, if you leave the country in general, you are barred from coming back for 10 years. And that's the part that the secretary does not mention. People who self-deport generally have to commit to not coming back for 10 years. The entire purpose of TPS was to prevent people from suffering immediate physical harm. And that's what these folks will be facing if they have to go back to Haiti for whatever reason. So the secretary is saying, go back to Haiti where it's incredibly dangerous and then apply for these statuses that aren't even real options for them as a practical matter.
Former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says Haiti and Syria don't meet the conditions for temporary protected status, and allowing immigrants from those countries to stay here is, in her words, contrary to the national interest of the United States. What's your response to that?
I think that it's very much in the national interest to have these folks here. TPS holders, by definition, are not criminals. You cannot be a criminal and maintain TPS. TPS holders, by definition, are not a drain on the dole dole. They cannot take federal public benefits. That's why the labor participation rate among TPS holders is higher than that for native-born citizens. The secretary's rationale for it being contrary to the national interest is really just based on the president's own agenda that he simply wants fewer Haitians in the country.
And now that the Supreme Court has ended temporary protected status for these people, does the law call for them to be deported?
Again, it depends on their individual circumstances. The TPS protections are no longer in place. A certain subset of people within that Haitian TPS population are probably going to be immediately removable. Some will not be, at least not in the short term. So the answer is, again, it depends on the individual circumstance. It's complete chaos out there right now, I have to say. There's an immense amount of fear and panic among this community because TPS was their lifeline, and now it's gone.
And now the Supreme Court seems to be paving the way for other countries to lose TPS status. What are you watching for there?
Well, there are still some countries with active TPS because their designations have not yet come up for review. For example, Ukraine's decision. Ukraine has had TPS since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. That TPS designation is up for review in October. I'm very curious to see what happens in that case, because I do think that is a country where the politics around this are a little bit different.
All right, Jeff Pipely, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so they got to go.
Yeah.
And I'm back.
Yeah.
So let's now get to the story out of Virginia, where police say that the son of a Kansas City Chiefs coach shot his mother. Our Pierre Thomas has been reporting on this since the story broke. Pierre, people are searching right now. They want to know why Elijah Bieniemy shot his mother. What are officials saying?
Well, so far what they've said, Gio, is that this arose out of a domestic disturbance. They haven't given a specific motive, but we know that domestic violence in this country is an ongoing and a chronic epidemic issue, if you will. And that's the basic thing that we know so far. They have not given any further detail. His next hearing is coming up sometime in the month of August.
What about Pierre, what about Elijah's father, Eric? Because obviously that's one of the things that people are focusing on right now. He obviously works for the Chiefs. So what is he saying anything? Are the Chiefs saying anything?
Well, we heard the coach of the Chiefs speak yesterday, Andy Reid, just talking about their love for both Eric, the coach, and Mia, the woman who was shot. Speaking of them fondly, so far, Eric has not spoken about this. Obviously, it's a very challenging issue. It involves his wife, who was seriously injured, shot in the chest and the arm, according to the 911 call. The broadcastify that we have all listened to and viewed. But the issue for him, like so many people in these situations where it's involving family members, I'm sure he's trying to sort out what exactly happened, and it involves obviously two people he would love.
And Mia Bieniemy, I know that you mentioned right now she was seriously injured. Do we know anything about her condition, though?
The last information we have is that she's in stable condition. Hopefully that good news will continue. But again, we do know according to the initial report, shot in the chest and the arm. But thankfully, so far, all the indications is that she's been in stable condition. But that's the last update that we have.
Oh, just tragic in every way, no doubt about it. And we hope that Mia recovers. Pierre Thomas, thank you so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm speechless on that one.
Let me see. Yeah. Let me say that for Front Line. All right, so Shabaka, the last topic is the situation in Berlin.
Okay. Situation where?
In Berlin.
Oh, in
Germany.
Berlin, Germany. Oh, okay. Berlin. Okay. What's going on in Berlin?
There was a pride.
Germans are calling for answers after this weekend's deadly attack on
yeah.
LGBTQ pride celebration. Many are angry because authorities were aware of the suspect's extremist beliefs. 21-year-old Abdul Balud had been convicted of trying to join ISIS and of other charges related to the radical Islamist group. But his sentence was suspended, allowing him to walk free. Just weeks ago, police searched his home but left after only finding a toy gun. On Sunday, he was killed in a confrontation with police following the post-attack manhunt. Let's bring in Hans Jacob Schindler now. He's a senior director at the Counter-Extremism Project and an expert on European jihadist networks. Hans Jacob, good morning and welcome. Police have described Balud as being part of Berlin's Islamist scene. What does that mean? How do authorities monitor them? And what more can be done to get threatening people off the streets?
Well, I mean, the Islamist scene in Berlin and in Germany in general is quite diverse and is monitored by both the federal level as well as the state level domestic intelligence services, our equivalent of the FBI. It includes networks such as the Muslim Brotherhood, who are not using violence to bring down the political system, but also sympathizers for hardcore terror organizations such as Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, or the Islamic State, and many variants around that. So it is quite heterogeneous. In this particular case, this was a hardcore ISIS sympathizer and who wanted to become part of ISIS, trying to travel to Syria three times, luckily unsuccessfully. Now, the problem is that, of course, these individuals are under observation by the domestic intelligence service, and there is a specific group to which he did belong, which is called a particularly risky individuals, which is a couple of hundred all over Germany, that are deemed to be anytime ready to exert violence to further their ideological aims and therefore eat up a lot of resources that go into the monitoring because they cannot get, of course, arrested until they actually prepared or committed a crime.
Well,
now, the strange thing... Yeah.
Well, this is what I think many of our American viewers will find so strange is that police were aware of him, but they didn't have enough information to keep him off the streets. In fact, he was ordered to take part in a de-radicalization program. This was court-ordered, and that group tells CBS News he was about to be disqualified because his cooperation appeared fake. Let's just listen to that.
He was very nice, very friendly, and there was like a fake cooperation. But our colleagues were very experienced. They could tell from this very sleek way of appearing that he wasn't really interested in open up himself or cooperate in a real de-radicalization process.
Hearing that, help our viewers understand what these programs are, how they should work, and what you make of what this person is telling us, that this person appeared to fake it.
Look, I mean, de-radicalization programs have at the core the aim to bring people out of extremist milieu. They work particularly well very early in the radicalization process when the extremist beliefs are not deep set into the individual's minds. And they also work very well if the individual is willing to actually leave the extremist circle. Neither one was the case in this case of the perpetrator of the attack. Hence, the assessment that it was not possible to continue the cooperation with him. The court decision is now discussed widely in Germany because it's unclear what risk assessment the court did. They just convicted him of having joined the terror organizations, yet they released him with the sole provision that he has to talk to the de-radicalization program, not any other restrictions such as movement restrictions or regular check-in with the police. So that's at the moment being discussed. Obviously, when you have a highly motivated terrorist in front of you, he will fake cooperation. And it actually takes prison time to even open the person's minds up and give a de-radicalization program at least a fighting chance. The way this was done here was impossible to be effective.
Yeah, something clearly went wrong. Such a disturbing sequence of events. Hans-Jacob Schindler, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it. But we'll talk about this more now because Germany's experienced a significant increase in crimes committed against LGBTQ individuals over the last few years. That's according to the country's crime data. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn has been looking through it and has an idea of what may be behind the rise. Bradley, good morning.
Errol, good morning. There is a larger context here. Look at me with me at this line. This is data from Germany's Federal Criminal Police Office. They say that in May, crimes linked to sexual orientation have increased more than tenfold since 2010. Just in the last year alone, the number of crimes against someone because of their sexual orientation rose 17%. Similarly, German police reported crimes against transgender, non-binary, or intersex people rose about 12% between 2024 and 2025. The official German police report on politically motivated crime noted that overall, the proportion of anti-LGBTQ violence was, quote, significantly higher than the average for all types, Errol.
Now, did the official German police stats suggest anything about who is committing these crimes, whether it's religious extremists or people who are politically motivated?
Well, they do divide the crimes among different groups that they identify as politically motivated by left-wing, right-wing, and foreign and religious ideologies. A large share of the increase here, Errol, is being driven by increases from right-wing and religiously aligned suspects, according to German police. Incidents driven by right-wing ideology targeting gender-diverse individuals went up 24%, while religiously motivated incidents rose by 200%. There is concern among some German political experts that the rise of conservative extremism, both religious and political, could lead to more hate crimes against the LGBTQ community. The far-right political party Alternative for Germany, that's known as AfD, placed second in last year's national election. The group opposes gay marriage equality, gay adoption, and programs supporting trans individuals. But that's despite the party's co-chair, Alice Weidel, being married to a woman and having 2 adopted sons. The rise in support for conservative ideologies has made some LGBTQ individuals feel unsafe expressing their identities in public. A 2024 study by the EU Agency for Fundamental Rights found that 40% avoided holding hands in public and 34% concealed their identities at work, Errol.
All right, Bradley, thank you very much.
All right. So that's all.
Well, I'm speechless on that, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they did something to curtail that shit, man, they wouldn't have that, you see. So once again, it goes on into the educational system. Like in some states, and California is one of them, where they, have discussions on this type of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, Shabaka, what's the closing statement?
Okay, my closing statement is this here. We want to thank everybody for joining us here on this episode and date of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Definitely check us out, next Tuesday. And we look forward to, doing Grand Rising. Yeah, doing Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase. So we want to thank all those out there, who's been viewing it and sharing the views, and please keep it up. Yes, this is because I need about 50 more people before I can go live. So,
more subscribers.
Yeah, I need 50 more people as subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you say? 6?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's 6. Okay, yeah. So we look forward, to getting those 6 subscribers. A shout out there to Breeze Omega and other platforms that we interacted with. And definitely look at our playbacks as well, too, and whatnot. And then if you look at it, if there's something you disagree, just place a comment in your social media, and you could follow Shabaka at Shabaka EXP on Twitter, and then of course you could follow the like page of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
Yep. So thank y'all for watching season 12, episode 8 of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News. The air date of this program was July 28th, 2026. And join us in about 30 minutes to an hour for Front Line Blacc News, season 6, episode 36, part 3, continuation. So we'll see y'all then.
All right. Okay. And okay, Lady Che, and thanks for having me, and appreciate the input that you guys are doing for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. And please hit that PayPal that Brother Che has put up there so we can create more content, you know, for our followers. All right.
Okay, Shabaka. So we're going to bid you a farewell from the Mile High Income and the Legal Migrants for the city.
Yeah, and the cities of them ponies, and when football season come, man, hope ponies lose all their games, man.
Gators lose all their games, but they've been known.
Well, that's a distinctive possibility. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I told them to change their name or get up out of town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See you a little bit.
Yes, sir. All right. Okay. So we'll see y'all in a little bit. Okay. I'm out.